Chapter 2063. Chapter 2063, Strength Greatly Increased? Chapter 2063. Chapter 2063, Strength Greatly Increased. The dark mass of demon spirits charged towards Lu Ming. Among them, there were two one-star illusionary emperor-level demon spirits. Their attacks were very terrifying. Get lost! Lu Ming activated the prism suppressing heaven technique and threw two punches. Thump, thump. Lu Ming's attack collided with the two demon spirit martial emperors, creating two loud booms. The two Mo Ling martial emperors' bodies shook violently. They could not withstand Lu Ming's terrifying power and were forced to retreat. I'll use you guys to test my battle prowess. Kill. Lu Ming's arms trembled. He felt that his body was filled with infinite power. Chaos Finger. Lu Ming pointed two fingers in a row, and holy power burst forth. At the same time, the Array Dao laws and the Chaos laws fused and supplemented the Chaos Finger of Calamity. Two terrifying finger forces were blasted toward the two martial emperor demon spirits. Wherever he passed, the energy surged and all the demon spirits in his way collapsed and exploded. The two martial emperor realm demon spirits seemed to feel threatened. They unleashed their full power and attacked Lu Ming twice. Boom, boom. Two earth-shaking rumbles were heard. This time, the two martial emperor realm demonic spirits trembled and retreated. Their bodies almost exploded. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with joy. His combat strength had indeed increased by a large margin. He had completely suppressed the two one-star martial emperors. Previously, when Lu Ming's cultivation base was at the peak of the absolute saint realm, he was no match for a one-star martial emperor. He was at a disadvantage and would be suppressed by the other party. Given Lu Ming's combat strength at that time, if he had broken through to the perfection of the absolute saint realm, he would have been able to fight against an ordinary one-star martial emperor. However, this time, not only did Lu Ming's cultivation level break through, but the power of his physical body and the complete fusion of two types of laws had increased his combat strength again. He could now suppress a one-star martial emperor. He could even suppress two one-star martial emperors. Bush, bush. Lu Ming continued to point out the chaotic finger of tribulation. The two demon spirit martial emperors were forced to retreat by Lu Ming and could only barely resist. As for the demon spirits below the martial supreme realm, they exploded when Lu Ming's finger force swept across them. Bang, bang. The weapons of the two demon spirit martial emperors were sent flying by Lu Ming, and cracks appeared on their bodies. If it were not for the armor they were wearing, which was extremely hard, they would have been shattered by Lu Ming. Kill! Not far away, there was a battle cry. A few more demon spirits rushed over. They were all martial emperor realm demon spirits. I don't want to play with you guys anymore, let's go. Lu Ming turned around and rushed outside. Wherever he passed, a large number of demon spirits were scattered. Ordinary demon spirits could not stop him at all. Lu Ming barged in and broke through the demon spirit armies, sniping in a short while, disappearing from the place. After leaving the area, Lu Ming took out the jade card again and activated the pattern on it. One could clearly see that there was also a light spot shining on Lu Ming's side. Lu Ming found the right direction and rushed towards the pile of light spots. Along the way, they didn't encounter any strange things. It was very peaceful. Lu Ming was getting closer and closer to the group of light spots. However, it took Lu Ming 3 days to get close to the light spots. From afar, there was a group of people standing high in the sky. Lu Ming saw the ancient emperor with a single glance. There was also the Azure Demon King and the few martial sovereigns who had pursued him back then. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The next moment he concealed it very well. Lu Ming kept the jade token and flew towards the ancient emperor and the rest. With the ancient emperor around, he believed that the Azure Demon King would not dare to do anything to him. Moreover, Lu Ming was not afraid of the Azure Demon King now. If the other party made a move, Lu Ming would take the opportunity to get rid of him. Lu Ming flew over and attracted everyone's attention. Lu Ming, when the Azure Demon King saw Lu Ming, his mouth opened so wide that he could swallow a duck's egg. His eyes were about to fall out in disbelief. Didn't he burn Lu Ming's body with the demonic fire and blast him into the lava? How could he not be dead? Moreover, Lu Ming's body seemed to be intact. Even his aura seemed to be much stronger. For you, the Ashen Demon King stammered. He even suspected that the Lu Ming in front of him was someone else in disguise. Azure Demon King, it seems like you're really getting old. You don't even recognize me? Lu Ming sneered. How could that be? The Azure Demon King was still dumbfounded. The few martial supremes who had tried to kill Lu Ming were also dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Thanks to Tsang Demon King, I'm fine. One just accidentally broke through in my cultivation. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The Azure Demon King almost spat out a mouthful of blood. His cultivation base had broken through. Lu Ming was trying to tell him that not only was he fine, but his cultivation had also broken through. This is all thanks to the Tsang Demon King. If not for him, I would probably need some time before one could make a breakthrough in my cultivation. Lu Ming said again. The Azure Demon King felt his liver and lungs hurt. His entire body ached and he felt a suffocating feeling in his chest. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What's going on? The ancient emperor turned his gaze over. Great Emperor, I'm fine. The Azure Demon King said hurriedly. It's good that you're alright. Our goal is to take back the ancient demon coffin. Don't mess around. The ancient emperor warned. With his experience, he could tell that something must have happened between Lu Ming and the Azure Demon King. However, since Lu Ming was fine, he would not bother about it. Lu Ming also smiled slightly and did not say much. The Ashen Demon King's gaze swept over Lu Ming, a cold, killing intent flashing in his eyes. Under such circumstances, Lu Ming did not die. He was shocked and even had a breakthrough in his cultivation. There had always been a saying in the cultivation world. Some peerless geniuses were born with great luck. This kind of person was usually very difficult to kill. When faced with danger, he could always turn the danger into safety and even use it to break through. In the eyes of the Azure Demon King, Lu Ming was such a person. This kind of person should be eliminated. He and Lu Ming were already mortal enemies. They would not rest until one of them was dead. When Lu Ming grew up in the future, he would definitely seek revenge. Therefore, he had to get rid of Lu Ming before he grew up. Different thoughts ran through their minds. Finally, Lu Ming looked for other people to gather information. After asking around, Lu Ming found out that he had been in the lava for a few months. And this time around, the ancient emperor had discovered the traces of the ancient demonic coffin. Hence, he had used the map to gather everyone here so that they could snatch the ancient demonic coffin back together. Time passed day by day. More and more people came here. After a few more days, there were already more than 200 people who had arrived. At this moment, the ancient emperor started explaining the situation to everyone. With a wave of his hand, an image appeared in the sky. In the picture, there was a mountain, and on the mountain, there was a group of people. Everyone's eyes narrowed. The figures on the mountain were all dressed in black robes, and their faces could not be seen clearly. They looked extremely similar to the man who had fought with the ancient emperor. That was a great emperor. Chapter 2064, Battling the Azure Demon King? Chapter 2064, Battling the Azure Demon King. Of course, there were so many black-robed men. They couldn't all be great emperors. They were just from the same race. A group of black-robed men, who looked thin and not very burly, were currently surrounding a huge black demon coffin. They kept turning around and shouting in different voices, as if they were performing some kind of ritual. That is, the ancient demonic coffin? Lu Ming stared at the huge black demonic coffin on the screen, his eyes burning with passion. Boom! All of a sudden, one of the black-robed men looked up into the sky as if he was looking in their direction. Then he waved his hand, and the void trembled. The image created by the ancient emperor collapsed. It was obvious that the other great emperor had noticed that the ancient emperor was peeking at them. There's a great sovereign realm expert on the other side. He's the one fought with last time. There are a few other experts with him. 111 hold him back later. You guys go and take the ancient demonic coffin. After that, leave the demonic sea immediately. Do you understand? Jianghu said. The ancient emperor ordered. Yes, great emperor. Everyone acknowledged the order. With the ancient emperor leading the way, the group of them flew forward. Soon, a huge mountain appeared in front of them. Everyone's eyesight was amazing, and they could see it from far away. That mountain peak was the image that the ancient emperor had just shown. At the peak of the mountain, there was a group of black-robed men circling a huge demonic coffin. The ancient emperor's body flickered as he charged towards the mountain. His speed was so fast that it exceeded everyone's reaction time. As the ancient emperor neared the mountain, a black beam of light shot out from the mountain. It was like a black waterfall, slicing through the void and slashing down at the ancient emperor like a demonic blade. Boom! The ancient emperor made his move as well. As the two of them clashed, a deafening boom reverberated through the heavens and earth. Thump! Boom! The two of them continued to fight, and the sky rumbled. The two of them fought high up in the sky, tearing open the space and fighting into an alternate dimension. It's our turn to attack, kill. Song Emo shouted coldly and charged towards the mountain. Before he left, he cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. Some of the strongest true emperors and void emperors rushed forward. They were the fastest, much faster than emperors to be. Then, the emperor-to-be with the largest number of people also rushed forward. Lu Ming was among the many emperor-to-be. In just a few breaths, the martial sovereigns were about to reach the mountain in front of them. However, at this moment, two figures suddenly stopped in front of Lu Ming. These were two old men with exceptionally powerful auras. They were both powerhouses of the empty emperor realm. The two of them exuded a faint murderous aura and blocked Lu Ming's way. Some of the emperor-to-be looked at Lu Ming with pity, but no one stayed behind. They all flew forward. All of a sudden, only Lu Ming and the two elders were left. What is the meaning of this? Lu Ming said in a deep voice. It's simple, it'll take your life. The old man on the right showed a cold smile. It's the Tsong Demon King who asked you to kill me again. Lu Ming sneered. So what if one no? I'm still going to die. The old man on the right said. It's not good to end the battle quickly and be discovered by the great emperor. The old man on the left said. The next moment, the two elders' auras rose sharply. The power of the world filled the air and they were about to charge at Lu Ming. Then go to hell. At this moment, a sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was a stone sword. Buzz. Lu Ming wielded the stone sword and slashed out. A crescent-shaped sword gleam was slashed out. The attacks and defenses of the two elders at the empty emperor realm were completely useless. They were cut in half at the waist by Lu Ming's sword. The terrifying sword qi coursed through their bodies and instantly destroyed their souls. In the face of the heavenly emperor sword, the two void emperors were instantly killed without any resistance. Lu Ming put away their storage rings and rushed to the mountain ahead. At this moment, a huge battle had already erupted on the mountain. The experts from the Eternal Devil Nation were engaged in an intense battle with the black-robed figures. Lu Ming concealed his aura and approached the mountain at high speed like a ghost. He didn't make a move. He wanted to use the God's Breath technique to climb up the mountain silently and take the ancient demon coffin. Lu Ming walked along the mountain, using the huge rocks to avoid others. Soon, he was halfway up the mountain and would reach the top soon. Boom, boom. There were martial supremes fighting all around the mountain. Rocks were flying everywhere. All kinds of huge rocks that were a few meters high or tens of meters high were thrown at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body kept moving and he dodged them cleverly. Lu Ming was rapidly approaching the peak of the mountain. All of a sudden, a scorching aura blasted toward Lu Ming at an alarming speed. Lu Ming's hair stood on end. He stopped in his tracks and retreated rapidly. Boom! A scorching black light blasted the spot where Lu Ming had been standing. A pitch-black hole immediately appeared on the mountain. Lu Ming, you're really lucky. An old man appeared in front of Lu Ming. His eyes were extremely cold. If it wasn't the Azure Demon King, who else could it be? The Ashen Demon King had just repelled an opponent and was about to rush to the top when he spotted Lu Ming. He had attacked Lu Ming directly, but the latter had been sharp enough to avoid an attack. The Azure Demon King's eyes flashed with a thick murderous intent and shock. He had just sent two Void Emperors to kill Lu Ming. Those two were not ordinary Void Emperors. One was a 3-star Void Emperor while the other was a 4-star Void Emperor. However, Lu Ming was safe and sound now, which shocked him greatly. He was determined to kill Lu Ming. I didn't kill you last time, so I'll kill you again. This time, I'll turn you into ashes and make your soul scatter. Let's see if you'll die or not. The Azure Demon King's eyes were sinister, and his entire body was covered in demonic flames. The peak true emperor was too terrifying. If he used his full strength, he could turn Lu Ming into ashes in one move. Back in the ancient city, Song Demon King had not used his full strength. Later on, Lu Ming had jumped into the magma, which had greatly hindered Song Demon King's attack. Otherwise, Lu Ming would not have had the chance to merge the two Saint Hearts. Bang! The Ashen Demon King took a step forward. His demonic fire transformed into a demonic fire saber and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was not afraid. He held the stone sword and slashed. Boom! The stone sword and the demonic flame saber collided with a terrifying boom. Lu Ming could feel a powerful force surging towards him, and he could not help but retreat. However, the devil flame saber was also blocked by him. Your sword? The Azure Demon King was shocked. Lu Ming could actually block one of his moves. His gaze fell on the stone sword in Lu Ming's hand, which was emitting a blazing flame. Lu Ming was only an absolute saint, but he could control the stone sword and unleash such terrifying power. If he had it, wouldn't he be able to fight against a great emperor? His heart was burning with passion. He understood that the two Void Emperors from before had been killed by this sword. Hand over the sword and 111 leave your corpse intact. The Ashen Demon King said coldly as he stepped towards Lu Ming. Chapter 2065. The Figure in the Ancient Demonic Coffin. Chapter 2065. The figure in the ancient demonic coffin. The Azure Demon King's eyes were fixed on the stone sword in Lu Ming's hand. His body was covered in terrifying demonic fire, raising the temperature to a terrifying level. Song Demon King, 111 send you on your way today. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Then, a stone golem appeared in front of him. When the golem first appeared, it was only as tall as a person, but it rapidly grew in size, like a small mountain. The Azure Demon King was taken aback. He had a bad feeling. At this moment, Lu Ming took a step forward. His body merged with the stone golem and disappeared into it. Demon King Tsang die. The stone man roared and sent a palm towards the Azure Demon King. The Azure Demon King's pupils contracted. He felt a sense of danger and retreated frantically. However, the golem's hand was even faster and caught up to Tsang Demon King in an instant. The hand covered the sky and blocked all of his escape routes. Boom! As the giant hand pressed down, sand and stones flew, and the pressure was powerful to the extreme. The Azure Demon King was terrified and used all his power to control a true emperor weapon to block the stone hand. However, under the pressure of the giant hand, his true emperor weapon was directly blown apart. The terrifying power slammed into the Azure Demon King's body, causing him to scream in pain as his body was sent flying. He crashed into the mountain, causing the entire mountain to shake. The mountain had been eroded by demonic qi all year round and had long since been sturdy and immortal, but it was still smashed apart by the Azure Demon King, leaving a huge crater. How is that possible? How is that possible? The Azure Demon King howled in his heart. He couldn't believe how the golem could be so powerful. He was a peak true emperor, but he couldn't even resist this stone being. He was truly terrified. However, if Lu Ming had such powerful golems, why did he not use them in the ancient city? At that time, Lu Ming almost died in his hands, but he did not even use the golems. Could it be that Lu Ming had obtained the golems in the ancient city? The golems he got from the lava? At this thought, the Azure Demon King almost spat out a mouthful of blood. If that was the case, he would be helping Lu Ming. Boom! The stone golem landed heavily in front of the Azure Demon King. The latter was shocked and wanted to use a secret technique to escape, but the stone golem stomped down, stomping him under its foot. The Azure Demon King let out a blood-curdling screech. He was like a lazy toad that had been stomped on, almost bursting into pieces. "Don't kill me, Lu Ming. Let me go. I'm an important official of the Eternal Devil Nation. If you kill me, you'll be offending the entire Eternal Devil Nation." The Ashen Demon King was terrified. He wanted to use the Eternal Demon Nation to threaten Lu Ming. "Don't use the Eternal Devil Nation to threaten me. You're just a peak true emperor. You can't represent the Eternal Devil Nation." Lu Ming did not say anything more. He wielded the stone sword and slashed at the Ashen Demon King. The Azure Demon King howled madly. He was almost scared out of his wits as he struggled with all his might. However, it was useless. As the battle sword slashed down, the Azure Demon King's head exploded like a watermelon. His soul was destroyed. After killing the Ashen Demon King, Lu Ming kept the Ashen Demon King's storage ring. Then, he took a step forward and rushed to the top of the mountain. There were people in black robes who tried to stop him, but they were killed by his sword. With the energy stored in the stone golems, they could simply abuse the arch of the He family. No one below the arch level could stop Lu Ming. Anyone who dared to stop Lu Ming would be killed in seconds. In a few breaths, Lu Ming had rushed to the top of the mountain. At this moment, most of the black-robed men were drawn away to fight the Eternal Devil Nation. Only a black-robed man was still sitting cross-legged beside the huge demonic coffin. The ancient demonic coffin. Lu Ming's eyes were burning with passion. As long as he could get the eternal demonic coffin, he could save Qiu Yue. Buzz. Lu Ming stretched out a large hand and grabbed at the ancient demonic coffin. However, at this moment, the black-robed figure sitting in front of the coffin suddenly opened his eyes. 2 rays of light shot out from his eyes like 2 terrifying divine swords that could pierce through everything. Clang, clang. The 2 beams of light struck Lu Ming's large hand, producing the sound of metal clashing. A terrifying force blocked the large hand from moving forward. At the same time, the black-robed man dashed forward, his body emitting a terrifying demonic light. He waved his hands and 2 pitch-black palm prints shot toward Lu Ming. The palm print was like an avalanche, its power shocking. Great Emperor. There was actually a great emperor here. There were 2 great emperors among the black-robed men. One of them was fighting against the ancient emperor while the other was guarding this place. Under the demonic sea, there was a group of terrifying black-robed people. Among them, there were actually 2 great emperors keeping watch. This was truly shocking. Lu Ming clenched his fist and the stone golem's house-like fists blasted towards the black-robed man. Boom, boom. There were 2 consecutive deafening rumbles. Lu Ming had blocked 2 of the opponent's palm prints. Slash. With a single thought, the stone sword flew out and slashed down violently. The other party's body trembled, and demonic light filled the sky. At the same time, the other party controlled the power of the Great Tao, turning it into a demonic weapon and attacking Lu Ming. Thump. There was another huge tremor and the stone sword buzzed. It was sent flying back and landed in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming held the stone sword in his hand and continuously slashed at his opponent. He launched a storm-like attack, completely disregarding his own injuries. The other party had transformed great Taos into weapons, and their offensive power was astonishing. However, when they landed on Celestial Emperor's corporeal body, they couldn't break through the defense of Celestial Emperor's corporeal body at all. The Eternal Universe Heavenly Emperor had reached the Heavenly Emperor realm through his stone golems. His Bodis defense was stronger than an ordinary Heavenly Emperor's, and ordinary Great Emperors couldn't break through it at all. Lu Ming went all out and ignored his defense. His combat strength increased greatly. The other party was forced to retreat by Lu Ming and was at a disadvantage for a while. After more than 10 moves, the black-robed emperor was sent flying by Lu Ming's sword. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and appeared in front of the demonic coffin. He stretched out his claws, wanting to grab the demonic coffin. However, at this moment, Lu Ming was suddenly stunned. The ancient demonic coffin didn't have a lid. Therefore, one could clearly see what was going on inside the coffin from this position. Inside the demonic coffin, there was actually a person, a woman, who was peerlessly beautiful. Xianyanqing. The woman in the coffin was Xianyanqing. Lu Ming was completely stunned when he saw Xianyanqing. Why would Xian be here? Back then, the Ice Dragon Patriarch had taken Xian and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had taken Lu Ming. They had broken out of the encirclement from different directions. Since then he had lost contact with Xian and had never seen him. In the blink of an eye, several years had passed. However, he never expected that Xian would appear here. This was the Demon Sea, one of the forbidden areas in the land of 10,000 demons. Moreover, Xian was still lying in the demon coffin. Lu Ming let out a long sigh of relief when he scanned Xian with his spiritual senses. His vital signs were normal and there were no problems. However, Nianqing's eyes were closed as he lay in the coffin. It was as if he couldn't sense anything outside. Put it away first. Lu Ming did not care so much. He would keep it first. While Lu Ming was still in a daze, the black-robed emperor launched a few attacks at Lu Ming, forcing him to retreat. Chapter 2066, The Canyon That Can't Be Entered. Chapter 2066, The Canyon That Can't Be Entered, Get Lost. Lu Ming shouted. Xian was lying in the eternal demonic coffin. He was determined to get his hands on the coffin. Lu Ming waved the stone sword and launched a storm of attacks at the black-robed emperor. The black-robed emperor was forced back again. Just as Lu Ming thought that he had a chance to put away the eternal demonic coffin, the space at the top of the mountain cracked open all of a sudden. A figure appeared out of nowhere. His entire body was covered in demonic light, and his appearance could not be seen clearly. With a wave of his hand, a huge hand formed and grabbed at the eternal demonic coffin. Get lost! Lu Ming abandoned the black-robed emperor and stomped on the ground. His huge body rushed toward the figure that had suddenly appeared. At the same time, he slashed out with his stone sword. Boom! The sword light shattered the giant hand, but it didn't stop and continued to attack the opponent. The other party could only block and collide with the stone sword. Boom! The figure took a few steps back, and the demonic light covering his body shook, revealing his true appearance. Undying Emperor! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This expert who had suddenly appeared was actually the Undying Emperor of the Undying Demon Nation. Undying Emperor wants the ancient demon nation's national treasure, the ancient demon coffin. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he guessed Undying Emperor's intention. Buzz. The Undying Emperor didn't want to fight with Lu Ming. He turned into more than a dozen figures and rushed toward the ancient demonic coffin from all directions. It was impossible to tell which one was real from which one was fake. It was as if every single one of them was real. Don't even think about it. Lu Ming shouted in his heart and controlled the golems. The golems' bodies shrunk rapidly, becoming the size of ordinary people. Lu Ming's speed increased dramatically after he turned into the size of a normal person. He took a step forward and rushed towards the ancient demonic coffin. At the same time, he slashed out more than 10 sword lights towards the Undying Emperor's shadows. Bang! The Undying Emperor's dozen figures attacked at the same time. They displayed their terrifying combat strength and crushed Lu Ming's sword radiance. Just as Lu Ming was about to reach the ancient demonic coffin, the black-robed emperor appeared again and blocked him. The three of them were caught in a chaotic battle. Lu Ming and the Undying Emperor wanted to take the eternal demonic coffin while the black-robed emperor wanted to protect it. The three of them were engaged in an intense battle. Lu Ming was furious. He completely ignored his own defense. The energy in the golem burst out wildly and suppressed the other two people for a moment. But this way, the golem's energy consumption was also shocking. They could not last for too long. Don't even think about it. The black-robed emperor roared in a hoarse voice. He took Lu Ming's attack head-on at the risk of being injured and retreated back to the eternal demonic coffin. Thump. At the same time, he struck out a move at the ancient demonic coffin, causing it to fly out. In that direction, there was a pitch-black canyon that was filled with demonic qi. The ancient demon coffin flew into the valley and disappeared. The ancient demonic coffin is mine. Undying Emperor charged into the canyon. However, just as he was about to rush in, he was stopped by a force. Then, Undying Emperor's body was blown out. As for Lu Ming, he also rushed towards the canyon. Boom! At the entrance of the canyon, Lu Ming seemed to have hit a wall. There was a force that stopped him. Lu Ming frantically unleashed the power within the golems, but it was useless. He was blocked by that force and could not charge in at all. Moreover, there was an extremely powerful force in the canyon that rushed toward Lu Ming. Even the power of the golems could not withstand it, and Lu Ming was pushed back. Those above the rank of Martial Supreme can't enter. Those below the rank of Martial Supreme will never be able to come out after entering. The black-robed emperor sneered. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear him. He took a step forward and rushed toward the canyon. When he was about to reach the entrance of the canyon, the stone golem glowed and suddenly disappeared. Lu Ming's original body appeared. With a swish, Lu Ming dashed into the canyon and disappeared. Below the rank of a Martial Supreme, the black-robed emperor blurted out before sneering. Those below the rank of Martial Supreme may be able to enter, but they will never be able to come out. Damn it! Undying Emperor roared and charged into the canyon again. Black-robe didn't stop him. This time, Undying Emperor didn't make it into the canyon. He was sent flying out by a force. Boom! A violent boom came from the sky. Then, two beams of light rushed over and two figures appeared. They were the Ancient Emperor and the Black-robed Emperor. The two black-robed emperors gathered together. The Ancient Emperor glared at the Undying Emperor coldly. Even if I'm not dead, you're still here for the ancient demon coffin? Brother Ancient One, you couldn't even protect your own treasure properly, and it was stolen by someone else. I'm here to help you retrieve it. The Undying Emperor sneered. You don't have to worry, the Ancient Emperor said coldly. He then looked at the canyon and walked towards it. The two black-robed emperors stood to the side without any intention of stopping him. However, just like Undying Emperor, the Ancient Emperor couldn't enter and was sent flying out. You can't go in, please go back. A black-robed emperor said. You guys stole my ancient demonic coffin. Are you not going to hand it over? The Ancient Emperor's eyes were as cold as ice. Of course it's useful. Besides, I can't give it to you even if I wanted to. Those above Martial Supreme can't enter, and those below Martial Supreme can't come out even if they enter. A black-robed emperor sneered. Anyone below the rank of Martial Supreme can't come out? The Ancient Emperor frowned. So, please go back. Don't think about letting anyone below the rank of a Martial Supreme enter. This place is our tribe's holy land. No one is allowed to enter. A black-robed emperor spoke, and the two of them stood in front of the canyon. This is your business, one won't get involved. The Undying Emperor laughed. Although he couldn't get the ancient demonic coffin, it wasn't his anyway. On the other hand, the Ancient Emperor had lost his ancient demonic coffin and suffered a huge loss. The Undying Emperor laughed and tore the space apart. The Ancient Emperor looked at the canyon with a look of unwillingness. He then rushed into the sky and shouted, "Stop! Leave this place! Stop!" The black-robed emperor ordered. Instantly, the people from both sides stopped fighting and rushed into the sky. He walked to the side of the Ancient Emperor. The Great Emperor and the Azure Demon King were killed by Lu Ming. One of the true emperors reported to the Ancient Emperor. I know, Song Demon King only has himself to blame. The Ancient Emperor nodded his head with a cold look in his eyes. And NBSP, although he had been fighting with the enemy, he had still been paying attention to the situation below, so he naturally knew what had happened. He was shocked that Lu Ming had a terrifying treasure like the Celestial Thearch's body. Moreover, that Song Demon King had gone too far. He deserved to be killed by Lu Ming. Chapter 2067. The People in the Canyon. Chapter 2067. The people in the canyon hearing the Ancient Emperor's words, no one else dared to say anything. They knew that the Ashen Demon King had died for nothing. This was because the abilities that Lu Ming had displayed were too terrifying. Not to mention his rare talent, just that stone golem alone was enough to fight a great emperor. Just that alone was enough for him to gain the respect of the Ancient Emperor. The Azure Demon King was only a true emperor. At his age, it was impossible for him to break through to the Great Emperor realm in his lifetime. Therefore, he would have died in vain. Let's go back first, the Ancient Emperor said. Naturally, he wouldn't give up on the ancient demonic coffin just like that. The ancient demonic coffin had been passed down for countless years and was the most precious treasure of the ancient devil nation. It was filled with all sorts of mysteries, and he naturally wouldn't give it up so easily. He planned to go back first and bring more experts. With that, everyone from the eternal devil nation left the place. Will that brat be all right after he enters? A black-robed emperor looked toward the canyon. Martial sovereigns can't enter this place. Anyone below the rank of a martial sovereign won't be able to leave unless they're a heaven-defying genius. However, there weren't many geniuses like that even in ancient times. The other black-robed emperor said. As soon as Lu Ming rushed into the canyon, he saw the ancient demonic coffin in front of him. Lu Ming hurriedly rushed over and looked into the demonic coffin. Nianqing was lying quietly in the coffin. His breathing was even, as if he was asleep. This was definitely Nianqing. Lu Ming would not be mistaken. Their auras were exactly the same. Little Qing, little Qing. Lu Ming called out softly, but Nianqing did not respond at all. Why did little Qing appear here? The ancient demonic coffin must have been stolen by the black-robed emperor. Why would they put little Qing in the ancient demonic coffin? Could it be that little Qing's soul was also injured? Those black-robed men were trying to save little Qing? Lu Ming was full of doubts and conjectures. However, she would only know the answer after Nianqing woke up. Let's leave this place. Lu Ming thought to himself and then looked behind him. He was shocked, because there was no way out. It was clearly the entrance of the canyon, the place where Lu Ming had just entered. However, there was nothing there now. There was no entrance to the canyon. Lu Ming threw a punch and a wave of fist force blasted toward the void. However, it was like a stone sinking into the sea and did not cause any waves. There's no way out. It seems like we can only move forward. Lu Ming looked at the front of the canyon. In front of him, it was extremely deep and dark. He didn't know how long it was or where it led. Lu Ming kept the ancient demon coffin into the mountain and river diagram and then walked forward. Stop, you can't pass this road. Suddenly, a figure stood in front of Lu Ming and spoke coldly. It was a middle-aged man with a saber on his back. Senior, I'm here by accident. Please do me a favor. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. You can't pass through this place unless you defeat me. The middle-aged man's eyes and voice were cold as if he was not a real person. Lu Ming sized him up carefully. Indeed, he could tell that the middle-aged man was not a real person. He was condensed from energy. Don't tell me that I still need to go through some tests in order to get out of here? Lu Ming thought to himself. In the next moment, he rushed over and cast the prison-suppressing heaven technique, throwing a punch. Buzz! A jet-black blade light burst out, splitting the mist and slashing toward Lu Ming. Boom! The saber light collided with Lu Ming's fist. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surging towards him as if it was going to tear his body apart. Lu Ming's figure could not help but retreat. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock. Lu Ming could tell that the middle-aged man was at the Emperor-to-be realm. However, his strength was truly terrifying. Lu Ming had just used the prison-suppressing heavenly art and the chaotic law. The power of that punch was enough to force a one-star void emperor to retreat. However, the situation just now was the exact opposite. The one who retreated was Lu Ming. Again! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he stepped forward. The light of chaos spread out from his body and covered his entire body. Lu Ming cast the chaos ring and pointed with his finger. And NBSP, a massive chaos finger of tribulation, shot toward the enemy. At the same time, countless runes appeared in his left hand. 9 dragons flew out and attacked his opponent. The middle-aged man's face was cold and indifferent, as if he would always have that expression. The saber in his hand slashed out again. The jet-black saber light tore apart the primal chaos tribulation finger and the 9 dragons condensed from the array Dao laws. The saber chi swept across and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was forced to retreat. Even the chaotic laws and chaotic light that covered his body were almost torn apart. What a terrifying combat strength! This middle-aged man was definitely an amazing existence among the Emperor-to-be. If separation doesn't work, then fuse. The fighting spirit in Lu Ming's eyes grew stronger. Instead of retreating, he advanced and charged towards the middle-aged man. He pointed his fingers continuously and shot out finger forces at the man. This was the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger, but it was indeed the fusion of the Primal Chaos laws and the Array Dao laws. Now, as the two Saint Hearts had merged into one, Lu Ming's two types of laws had also completely merged and the power was shocking. And NBSP, the middle-aged man's blade exploded with light as it clashed with the Primal Chaos Tribulation Finger. Boom, boom. The blade glowed and the energy burst out, constantly bombarding the canyon. With their current combat strength, they could definitely tear the ground apart. However, in this canyon, they could only leave shallow marks on the ground and the walls. The two of them exchanged a few moves in a row. Surprisingly, even though Lu Ming used the fusion of two types of laws, he could not gain the upper hand. He only ended up in a draw with his opponent. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long roar and exerted all his strength to the extreme. His Saint Heart spun rapidly, and his Saint powers surged out like a river. Lu Ming circulated the power of law to the extreme as he fought the middle-aged man. But even so, the two of them were still tied. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. Boom! Lu Ming exchanged another blow with the other party and retreated a few hundred meters. After Lu Ming retreated a distance, the burly man did not pursue him. He just stood there and blocked his way. What powerful strength! Lu Ming was shocked. He guessed that the middle-aged man's combat strength was almost on par with the Son of God. Even if he was not as strong, he was not far from it. Lu Ming's current cultivation level was very close to an emperor-to-be. Lu Ming's spirit body was stronger than the average child of God. The Saint Heart was formed by two Saint Hearts and the fusion of two laws. Lu Ming was confident that he could even fight against a son of heaven who had become an emperor-to-be. But now, they could only fight to a draw. Just now, at this moment, Lu Ming suddenly thought of something else. He raised his hand and there was a death aura on his palm. This was the law of death. Chapter 2068. Chapter 2067. Nianqing is awake. Chapter 2068. Chapter 2067. Nianqing is awake. Lu Ming raised his hand. The death law was actually spreading out from his hand. Although it was very weak and only had a trace of aura, it was enough to shake the entire world if it were to spread. Lu Ming himself was also shocked and dumbfounded. He took a long time to react. He seemed to have mastered the law of death. Previously, in the ancient city, Lu Ming was chased by the Gang Demon King and rushed into the magma. His body was burned and turned into ashes. From a certain perspective, Lu Ming had really fallen and was facing death. That experience gave Lu Ming a deep understanding of death. After that, he had been busy absorbing energy for Celestial Emperor's corporeal body and didn't have the time to sense it carefully. It wasn't until he fought the middle-aged man with all his strength that his attacks actually contained a trace of the death law. This was an unbelievable thing. It was true that those below the rank of Martial Supreme could only comprehend one law. However, Lu Ming had cultivated the Twin Forbidden Spell and fused his main body with his secondary body. He had cultivated two Saint Hearts and could control two laws. After that, when he was on the verge of death in the lava, the two Saint Hearts had fused, causing the two laws to also merge. It was already unbelievable that someone below the rank of a Martial Supreme could control two types of nomological laws and even fuse them together. It would shock countless people if he were to say it. But compared to now, it was nothing. The death maxim was one of the 10 ultimate maxims. Moreover, out of the 10 ultimate maxims, no two maxims could coexist. This was a truth that had never changed since ancient times. Even if he had cultivated to the Martial Emperor realm, it was impossible for him to control two ultimate laws. A mountain could not accommodate two tigers. However, Lu Ming had yet to reach the Martial Emperor realm, but he seemed to have mastered two ultimate maxims. Although the death maxim was still extremely weak, he had indeed mastered it. The two strongest laws coexisted. If this were to spread out, it would scare people to death. Is it because of my Saint Heart? Lu Ming could not help but guess. His Saint Heart was too special. It was transformed from the Twin Forbidden Spell. In history, Even if someone had cultivated the forbidden twin spell and even 2 saint hearts, he would still be a saint. However, no one was like Lu Ming, who had 2 saint hearts merged together again. The probability of this happening was too small. Therefore, Lu Ming's special saint heart was able to contain many laws at the same time, even the 10 ultimate laws. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was overjoyed. Did this mean that he would be able to control more ultimate maxims in the future? If he could control all 10 ultimate maxims and merge them together, what would happen? Lu Ming's heart could not help but beat wildly. He was filled with anticipation. Then he'll cultivate here for a while. Lu Ming pondered for a while before he took out the eternal demonic coffin and placed it on the ground. After taking a look at nianqing, Lu Ming sat cross-legged beside the coffin and began to study the death law in detail. As his comprehension deepened, a layer of death intent emanated from his body. Although it was extremely faint, it was indeed the death law. Lu Ming had been cultivating continuously for several days. His understanding of the law of death was slowly deepening. However, he had not even mastered half of it. However, Lu Ming was already very satisfied. He knew that he had really mastered the law of death. The same person could control 2 ultimate maxims at the same time. Even Lu Ming felt like he was dreaming. The law of death is still too weak and not very powerful. When it's more mature, it can even merge with other laws. How powerful will it be then? Also, I've already mastered 3 types of nomological laws. Can I master more? Lu Ming had already started to let his imagination run wild. At his current realm, he naturally did not need to comprehend other nomological laws like when his cultivation was low. He could skip all these and directly comprehend nomological laws. It was just like how a martial emperor would start to comprehend new laws directly from the laws when he tried to comprehend them. In the following days, Lu Ming spent his time comprehending the death rule and trying to merge it with the other 2 rules. Lu Ming's saint heart was really amazing. He tried to merge the laws and the process was very smooth. Half a month later, Lu Ming's death maxim had been cultivated to 10%. He could also fuse it with the chaos maxim and the array Dao maxim. In this way, Lu Ming's combat strength had increased a little. However, nianqing had not woken up for the past half a month. This made Lu Ming a little anxious. What if nianqing doesn't wake up? Qiu Yue was still waiting for the ancient demonic coffin? However, it was useless to be anxious. He could only wait. Lu Ming collected his thoughts and continued to comprehend the death law. And NBSP, his mastery of the chaos laws and array Dao laws was already very high. It would be very difficult to improve. However, he had just gained a preliminary understanding of the death rule. Back then, Lu Ming had experienced death in the lava. His understanding of the death rule was extremely fast. And NBSP, as time passed, his understanding of the death law became deeper and deeper. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had been in the canyon for a month. His mastery of the law of death had also reached 20%. I'll go and try again. Lu Ming kept the ancient demonic coffin and stepped forward. When he arrived at a certain area, the middle-aged man appeared again. There was nothing more to say. Lu Ming took action immediately. Lu Ming used all his strength the moment he made his move. This time, Lu Ming used 3 types of laws together. After all, the death maxim was one of the 10 ultimate maxims. When it was fused with the chaos maxim, the explosive power was terrifyingly strong, as if some kind of qualitative change had occurred. This time, Lu Ming had the upper hand. After dozens of moves, Lu Ming defeated his opponent's saber light with 1 move. He bombarded his opponent's body and defeated him. He had finally defeated the middle-aged man. Lu Ming smiled and continued to move forward. However, after moving forward for a while, Lu Ming had no choice but to stop. That was because 2 figures had appeared in front of him. They were 2 middle-aged men. When Lu Ming fought with the other party, he realized that the 2 middle-aged men's combat strength was exactly the same as the previous one. One of them was already very terrifying. With 2 of them attacking at the same time, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage despite using all his strength. He was rather speechless and could only retreat. It seems like I won't be able to break out in a short period of time. Lu Ming shook his head and then took out the eternal demonic coffin. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Just now, he noticed that nianqing's finger had moved. Lu Ming would not be wrong. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Was nianqing waking up? Lu Ming stared at nianqing. Indeed, not long after, nianqing's fingers moved again. It didn't take long before it moved again. After a while, nianqing let out an and opened her eyes. He saw Lu Ming the moment he opened his big, black eyes. In the beginning, there was some confusion in his eyes, but then, it turned into endless joy. Lu Ming! nianqing's crisp voice came out of his mouth. Chapter 2069. Chapter 2068, Experience. Chapter 2069. Chapter 2068 Experience. nianqing's eyes widened as he stared at Lu Ming. At first, he did not seem to believe it, but slowly, it turned into surprise. Lu Ming! nianqing called out in disbelief, as if he was dreaming. Little Qing, it's me. Lu Ming was also overjoyed. nianqing finally woke up. It seemed like he was fine. It had been several years since they last met. It would be a lie to say that he didn't miss her. Lu Ming, it's really you. nianqing seemed to have finally confirmed that it was Lu Ming. She rushed out of the eternal demonic coffin and into Lu Ming's arms. Lu Ming wrapped his arm around nianqing's slender waist and held him tightly in his arms. After a long time, the two separated. Little Qing, why are you here? How did he appear in the ancient demonic coffin? How was the ice dragon ancestor? And who are those black-robed men? Lu Ming asked a series of questions. He was indeed full of doubts. Back then, the ice dragon patriarch and one escaped from evil spirits' pursuit. Then, nianqing told her about her experiences over the years. Back then, nianqing and the ice dragon patriarch had escaped evil spirits' pursuit and accidentally escaped to an ancient ruin. The ancient ruins were extremely mysterious. While exploring the ancient ruins, nianqing accidentally stepped onto an ancient teleportation array and was directly teleported to the demonic sea of the land of infinite demons. In the demonic sea, she had encountered those black-robed men. nianqing told him that the demonic sea had fallen from the heaven realm during the ancient war. Some of them had not died and had been passed down since then. They were the black-robed men. All these years, she had been cultivating in the demonic sea. She wanted to leave, but those black-robed men wouldn't let her. So, the ice dragon patriarch is still in the ancient ruins? Lu Ming said. It's possible. However, the ancient ruins are very mysterious. There might be other teleportation arrays. The ice dragon patriarch might have been teleported to another place. nianqing said. How did those black-robed men steal the ancient demonic coffin and place you inside? This was Lu Ming's biggest question. I don't know. Those people are always so mysterious. nianqing said, seemingly unwilling to elaborate. He changed the topic and asked Lu Ming, why are you here? How did you survive all these years? It's like this. Immediately, Lu Ming briefly recounted his experiences over the years. Lu Ming, it turns out that you have experienced so much. nianqing leaned on Lu Ming gently. But I've finally found you. No matter how much I've experienced, it's all worth it. Lu Ming put his arm around nianqing's shoulders. However, that girl of yours is dead set on you. At this moment, nianqing suddenly looked at Lu Ming again. His big eyes blinked, not knowing what he was thinking. Are you jealous? Lu Ming touched his nose. Yes. nianqing was very straightforward and nodded. However, he immediately said, however, she's devoted to you and can even die for you. If you let her down, I won't let you off. Lu Ming was a little confused. What did nianqing mean by this? He was jealous, but he also told Lu Ming not to let Qiu Yue down. Lu Ming could not figure out what he was thinking. A heartless person is not worth entrusting your life to. You won't understand even if I tell you. What are you waiting for? Quickly put that little girl of yours into the ancient demonic coffin. nianqing said. Okay. Lu Ming quickly took out the Dian elixir furnace and placed Qiu Yue into the eternal demonic coffin. There was a mysterious power in the eternal demonic coffin that immediately enveloped Qiu Yue's body. Qiu Yue's face seemed to be more ruddy, and Lu Ming could finally put his heart at ease. Then, Lu Ming kept the ancient demon coffin into the mountain and river diagram. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing had not seen each other for many years. They had many topics to talk about, and the two of them started chatting again. As they were chatting, Xian Yanqing suddenly frowned. A trace of pain flashed across his eyes, and he let out a soft hum. Lu Ming naturally noticed all of this. "Little Qing, what's wrong?" Lu Ming asked hurriedly. "No, nothing much." Xian Yanqing smiled and shook his head. Lu Ming was suspicious. Xian Yanqing had clearly looked like he was in pain. Could it be that little Qing is injured? Lu Ming was puzzled. He held Xian Yanqing's small hand and sensed it carefully. However, he realized that Xian Yanqing was in good health and was not injured at all. "Little Qing, do you know what's going on with this canyon? Do I really have to charge all the way to the end before one can leave?" Lu Ming asked. "Not bad." Xian Yanqing nodded. "There is a heavenly region in the 9 skies of the heaven realm. It is called the ancient demon heavenly region. Almost everyone there is a demonic cultivator. The ancient foreign races invaded and fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Many demon cities and demon mountains fell from the heaven realm, forming the demon sea. And this mountain fell from the heaven realm. In the heaven realm, this mountain should belong to an extremely powerful force, and this canyon was used by that force to test their disciples. Only the strongest below the martial supreme realm can pass through this place. If they can't, they'll be trapped here for the rest of their lives or even die of old age. Such a strict assessment. Lu Ming was also secretly shocked. Once one entered this canyon, there was no other way out except to use extremely strong combat power. This was forcing him to continuously improve and squeeze out his potential. As expected, devil cultivators did things differently. They were very evil. How strong is the strongest below the martial supreme? Lu Ming muttered. "I'm guessing that the strongest below the martial supreme realm is just a saying. Or rather, it's just a boundary. There's always a higher mountain. Who knows what's the strongest combat strength? It's just a boundary. Once you reach that boundary, you'll be able to leave," Xian Yanqing explained. She had been in the demonic sea for a few years and had learned a lot from the black-robed men. "It seems like one can only break out by constantly improving my strength," Lu Ming said. With his current ability, it was obvious that he could not break out. After that, the two of them chatted for a long time. Lu Ming then went to one side, sat cross-legged, and began to cultivate. A few days later, Lu Ming went to challenge the checkpoint again. He was still no match for the two middle-aged burly men and was forced back. After returning, Lu Ming continued to cultivate. After a few days, he would attempt it again. In this way, Lu Ming's improvement was very fast. However, there was one thing that worried Lu Ming. He had seen Xian Yanqing frowning a few times and a flash of pain in his eyes. But when he asked Xian Yanqing, he said he was fine. However, Lu Ming could clearly sense the worry in Xian Yanqing's eyes. "Little Qing, is there anything you and one can't say? If there's anything, you must tell me." Lu Ming walked to Xian Yanqing's side and hugged her gently. Xian Yanqing suddenly wrapped his arms around Lu Ming's neck and whispered in his ear, "Lu Ming, I want to bear your child." Chapter 2070, The First Time. Chapter 2070, The First Time, Lu Ming was stunned. "What's wrong? You're not willing to?" Xian Yanqing's voice rang in her ears again. "Of course I'm willing," Lu Ming quickly replied. He would be a fool if he was unwilling. He immediately took action. Soon, the sound of heavy breathing could be heard in the valley. At this moment, they had completely forgotten themselves and only had each other in their eyes. This battle lasted for a full hour before it stopped. Despite their high cultivation levels, they were still drenched in sweat. Xian Yanqing lay in Lu Ming's arms, hugging him tightly. He did not say a word and was unwilling to let go. After a long time, a wooden figure suddenly appeared in Xian Yanqing's hand. It was black all over, like a doll. "Lu Ming, This is a scapegoat demon puppet. It can die once if you are in mortal danger. Take it. Xian Yanqing passed the doll to Lu Ming. Scapegoat demon puppet, is it a scapegoat? Lu Ming was shocked. There was actually such a treasure in the world. Wasn't this equivalent to having an extra life? If this were to be spread out, it would probably cause a crazy fight because it was too precious. This depends on the cultivation level. It is useless for those above the martial emperor realm to use the scapegoat demon puppet. Only those below the martial emperor realm will use it. Xian Yanqing said. Little Qing, you can keep it for yourself. Lu Ming said. I still have some for myself, you can keep it. Xian Yanqing stared at Lu Ming with wide eyes. That's good. Since Xian Yanqing still had more, Lu Ming did not reject and kept the magic puppet. Following that, Lu Ming's hand started to move again. He only stopped after a while. Little Qing, you're so beautiful. Lu Ming said gently. Have you said this to anyone else before? Of course not. Little Qing, let's continue. Didn't one already come? How is giving birth once enough? A gentle voice rang out, and the valley was filled with warmth. They did not know how many rounds they fought. In the end, even with Lu Ming's cultivation, he felt exhausted. He just lay down and fell asleep. Xian Yanqing was the same. He lay down beside Lu Ming and fell into a deep sleep. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming suddenly woke up from his sleep. This was because he felt a cold, killing intent engulf him. This was his instinctive vigilance. He circulated his saint power and retreated far away. He took out a piece of clothing from his storage ring and put it on. Then he looked forward. In front of her, Xian Yanqing was wearing a long black dress. Her beauty was unparalleled. However, at this moment, her eyes were extremely cold. They were filled with cold, killing intent as she stared at Lu Ming coldly. Lu Ming's heart trembled. He was unfamiliar with the look in Xian Yanqing's eyes. Xian Yanqing had never looked at him with such a look. Little Qing, what's wrong? Lu Ming could not help but ask as he stepped forward. Kill! Xian Yanqing said in a cold voice. A dark demonic light emanated from her body and turned into a dark demonic sword. Her figure was like a fleeting shadow as she charged at Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. The pitch-black sword gleam slashed toward Lu Ming, aiming for his vital points. Little Qing, what are you doing? Lu Ming shouted. At the same time, he circulated his saint energy and controlled the laws of chaos to form a defensive wall in front of him. However, to Lu Ming's shock, Xian Yanqing's demonic sword tore apart Lu Ming's defensive wall. The defensive wall formed by the laws of chaos appeared to be very fragile under Xian Yanqing's sword radiance. Lu Ming was very shocked. Xian Yanqing's sword did not stop and continued to slash at Lu Ming's glabella. He was not just saying it. He really wanted to kill Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing was completely different from his passionate self yesterday. Yesterday, Xian Yanqing was passionate and gentle as he wanted to bear Lu Ming's child. But today, he had drawn his sword to kill Lu Ming. His killing intent was as cold as a knife. Yanqing, stop. What's the matter? Speak clearly. Go. Lu Ming shouted and burst out the light of chaos at the same time. With a wave of his hand, the shadow of the prison-suppressing steel emerged and blocked in front of him. The phantom of the prison-suppressing steel was covered with chaotic laws and chaotic light, which had amazing defensive power. However, when Xian Yanqing's sword radiance struck, the chaotic light trembled violently and was torn apart. Lu Ming was shocked and he retreated rapidly. This power, Lu Ming's gaze was solemn. Xian Yanqing's power didn't contain any nomological power. Instead, it contained extremely condensed demonic power and extremely powerful offensive power. This land of power was very similar to the power cultivated by the ancient devil. Lu Ming had fought with the ancient devil before and he could clearly feel it. However, Xian Yanqing's power was purer, more condensed, and more powerful than the ancient devil's power. Lowly ant, you dare to insult me? Kill! Xian Yanqing shouted. His killing intent was at its peak. Demonic light filled the air, and the sword radiance glowed as he continued to charge at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's heart trembled. His pupils contracted and he shouted, Who are you? You're not little Qing. Nianqing would never use such a tone to call him a lowly ant. However, the aura of the person in front of him was clearly Nianqing. What was going on? Could it be that Nianqing was possessed? Nianqing is me. Nianqing said coldly. The sword light did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming used all his strength and cast a fusion of chaos laws, array laws, and even death laws to fight Nianqing. At the same time, all sorts of thoughts were running through his mind. That's not right. Looking at the situation, it doesn't seem like he has been possessed. What's going on? After being possessed, one's soul would be destroyed and would lose its consciousness. However, Nianqing had his own consciousness, so it was impossible for him to be possessed. Could it be related to the ancient demonic coffin? But I've never heard of such a thing happening when using the ancient demon coffin. Could it be related to the power in little Qing's body? Lu Ming was reminded of the power in Nianqing's body. In the past, he had always felt that there was a terrifying power hidden in Nianqing's body. In the past, Lu Ming had thought that it was because Nianqing had great potential. Now that he thought about it, the situation was not right. There was another person in the same situation, Nianqing. Lu Ming could also sense a terrifying power lurking in Nianqing's body. Furthermore, Lu Ming also recalled that the Nianqing now was very different from the Nianqing back in the Divine Wilderness continent. Initially, Nianqing wanted to kill him. However, after they arrived in the Yuan continent, Nianqing did not seem to have this intention. Instead, he wanted to cooperate with him. Want to gift the story? Try one. Chapter 2071. Chapter 2071, 1,000 Doubts. Chapter 2071. Chapter 2071, 1,000 Doubts. Lu Ming thought about it carefully and realized that Nianqing's personality had indeed changed greatly. Were all these similar to Nianqing's current situation? At the same time, he also thought about how he had seen Nianqing's painful expression all this time. Could all of this be related? Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He did not stop and pointed two fingers at Nianqing. This was because Nianqing was too strong. His demonic power could break through all obstacles and destroy everything. The combined force of Lu Ming's few laws seemed to be difficult to resist and was about to be torn apart. Little official's cultivation looks like it's in the great circle of the absolute saint stage, similar to mine. But what kind of power is this? Could it also be a power cultivated by the primordial diabolism? Lu Ming had a thought and pointed his finger. This finger contained the laws of chaos, array Dao laws, and death laws. The huge finger pointed at Nianqing's sword light. Nianqing's sword radiance slashed down, and even the space around it cracked. It was too shocking. The sword radiance slashed on the huge finger and broke it. Little Qing, wake up! Lu Ming roared. He didn't believe that Nianqing would really kill him. Lowly ant, you've tainted my body. You deserve to die. Nianqing spoke again, his expression cold. The demonic light on her body grew stronger, and it was as if there was an endless stream of energy flowing out of her body. The cold sword light continued to attack Lu Ming. Her sword light was even stronger than before. The sword light flashed and illuminated the valley. Although Lu Ming had used all his strength, he was still no match for Nianqing. The fusion of three types of laws could not withstand Nianqing's sword radiance and was torn apart by it. Lu Ming's body was cut by the sword light and a deep wound appeared. It was so deep that his bones could be seen. Blood flowed out and dyed his clothes red. The moment Lu Ming was injured, Nianqing's gaze finally wavered. Her figure slightly paused and stopped. Kill him. He has defiled me. One must kill him. Nianqing shouted, as if he was talking to himself. Her eyes turned cold again. She raised her sword and charged at Lu Ming. The sword light was like a rainbow, cutting through the sky. However, this time, Lu Ming did not move or block it. He let the sword radiance stab at him. Seeing that the sword light was about to pierce through Lu Ming's heart, Nianqing's eyes showed signs of struggle. No! She shouted and moved her wrist. The sword gleam deviated slightly and pierced through Lu Ming's chest. However, it had already deviated from the position of his heart. Shaoqing, if you want to kill, 111 let you kill. If you're pregnant with our child, take good care of him in the future. Lu Ming smiled and looked at Xian Yanqing gently. Kill him. No. Xian Yanqing continued to shout. It sounded like two people were talking, but it was clearly only one person's voice. The struggle in Xian Yanqing's eyes grew stronger. Even his beautiful face started to twist. Little Qing, what's wrong with you? Lu Ming shouted. Xian Yanqing's condition was obviously not right. It was as if there were two people in his body. Lu Ming, take care. In the end, Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming tenderly, turned around, and left. Like a rainbow, he rushed into the depths of the canyon. A few rumbles came from the valley, but the rumbles disappeared in the next moment. Little Qing. Lu Ming shouted. The sword gleam that stabbed into Lu Ming's body was condensed by Xian Yanqing's demonic energy. It had already dissipated. Lu Ming rushed into the depths of the canyon. However, when Lu Ming had run a distance away, two middle-aged burly men appeared and attacked him. Lu Ming was blocked and could not rush over at all. In the end, he was struck back by the two middle-aged burly men. What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, he was extremely anxious and his heart was filled with endless questions. However, he was blocked and couldn't rush over at all. He couldn't find Xian Yanqing and couldn't ask him what was going on. It must be related to the power in Little Qing's body. What is it? Xian Yanjuan also has one. Also, those black-robed men purposely stole the ancient demonic coffin and placed Little Qing in it. Could it be related to this? The next time one sees Xian Yanjuan, one must ask him clearly. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. He was really a little afraid. He was afraid that Xian Yanqing would no longer be the Xian Yanqing he used to be and that he would become another person. Xian Yanqing had broken through several levels in a row. The strength he had displayed was shocking. She only stopped after breaking through a few levels. Why didn't you let me kill him? He has tainted us. Xian Yanqing's voice was cold and murderous. If you kill him, 111 kill myself. Then, Xian Yanqing muttered to himself. Why are you so persistent? You are me and 1AMU. Let us merge completely and return to the supreme realm. Why are you trapped in this small world? No, you are you, I am me. One will never merge with you, never. Xian Yanqing seemed to be talking to himself. Then, his body moved and he rushed out of the canyon. Soon, his figure completely disappeared. Lu Ming sat on a black rock, deep in thought. He thought about it a lot, but he still couldn't think of an answer. As long as I'm strong enough, he'll definitely understand everything and restore Little Qing to her original state. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. Slowly, his heart calmed down. Lu Ming had experienced too much along the way. He was very clear that it was useless to be anxious when he encountered something. It was better to calm down and improve his strength. Lu Ming closed his eyes and sat there quietly. 3 days later, Lu Ming opened his eyes. His gaze had become calm. Then, Lu Ming took out the path-understanding ancient tree and sat cross-legged under it to study the law of death. Now, the path-understanding ancient tree was already 10 meters tall. Its branches and leaves were flourishing, and a mysterious light surrounded the branches. It was extremely mysterious. All these years, Lu Ming had spent a great price to cultivate the path-understanding ancient tree. As expected, the path-understanding ancient tree had improved greatly. Comprehending nomological laws under the Tao comprehension ancient tree would yield twice the result with half the effort. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. Lu Ming's death precept had improved very quickly. At the same time, his integration with the other 2 types of precepts had also become more thorough. His strength was increasing every day. This time, he successfully passed through the 2 middle-aged men and continued to move forward. However, this time, 3 middle-aged men appeared in front of him. The 3 of them joined forces to fight Lu Ming. Lu Ming was blocked again, so he could only stop and continue to improve his strength. At this moment, Lu Ming had an idea. He waved his hand and the ancient demon coffin appeared in the canyon. In the ancient demonic coffin, Qiu Yue's body exuded a powerful aura. After a few months, Qiu Yue finally showed some changes. In the past, the people from Vientiane Tower had said that Qiu Yue would wake up after staying in the eternal demonic coffin for a month. However, in reality, 3 months had passed. And NBSP who, at this moment, a powerful suction force erupted from Qiu Yue's body. The energy of the world quickly surged towards Qiu Yue. He's about to break through? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He then took out a large number of raw gemstones and blasted them apart, turning them into billowing original qi that gathered towards Qiu Yue. Chapter 2072, Emperor to be Qiu Yue. Chapter 2072, Emperor to be Qiu Yuanless origin energy gathered towards Qiu Yue, and her aura became stronger and stronger. Absolute Saint Peak, Absolute Saint Perfection. In a short period of time, Qiu Yue's aura skyrocketed. Gradually, Qiu Yue's body floated up and flew out of the ancient demonic coffin. Buzz. Suddenly, a layer of light appeared on Qiu Yue's body. That was the light of law. Lu Ming was shocked. Qiu Yue had been unconscious all this while and her soul was incomplete. He did not expect her to be able to refine the light of law. This was really unbelievable. However, this did not stop. Qiu Yue's aura was still rising. The aura of the laws of yin and yang emanated from her body. Suddenly, the laws of yin and yang converged into a long river and swam around Qiu Yue's body. Her aura rose again. Laws forming a river, emperor to be. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Qiu Yue had been unconscious for a while, but she had broken through to the emperor to be realm. Indeed, during this period of time, Lu Ming had condensed a huge amount of sacred elixirs into Qiu Yue's body. However, the laws could not be improved just by consuming sacred elixirs. They needed to be understood. Qiu Yue was unconscious, so how could she comprehend laws? Lu Ming was very puzzled. When her aura reached emperor to be, it finally calmed down. At this time, Qiu Yue opened her eyes. 2 rays of light shot out from Qiu Yue's eyes. In the next moment, they were retracted. Then Qiu Yue's aura was retracted. Young master. When Qiu Yue saw Lu Ming, she cheered and pounced into his arms. Qiu Yue, you're finally awake. Lu Ming touched Qiu Yue's head and a smile appeared on his face. He finally felt a little better. Young master, are you all right? Those people wanted to kill you back then. 11 Qiu Yue looked around nervously. Her memory was still stuck in the Lotus world. It's all right, it's been a long time. Lu Ming smiled. A long time has passed? Qiu Yue was suspicious and blinked her big eyes. Lu Ming briefly recounted what had happened during this period of time. Of course, there were some things that he directly skipped, such as nianqing. It's been so long? Have I been unconscious all this time? Strange, I've been feeling like I'm in a strange state, being wrapped by the laws of yin and yang. I've been in a daze, but suddenly, a warm force wrapped around me from behind. Qiu Yue began. Could it be a soul enlightenment? Lu Ming's heart stirred. When it came to enlightenment, it was a rare state of cultivation. Lu Ming speculated that after Qiu Yue's soul was injured, she had entered a state of enlightenment. This state was extremely rare and she would unconsciously continue to comprehend the Tao and the laws. Her body had been tempered by the alchemy fire in the Dian elixir furnace and smelted countless sacred herbs. That was why her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds after she woke up. Not only had she refined the light of law, but she had also broken through to the emperor to be realm. Or perhaps, the ancient demonic coffin had also played a role. Truly, fortune and misfortune come together, and the world is unpredictable. Lu Ming was happy for Qiu Yue. Qiu Yue, your current cultivation has already surpassed young masters. Lu Ming said with a smile. But I'm sure that Qiu Yue is no match for young master. Qiu Yue stuck out her tongue, tugged at Lu Ming and talked non-stop. In the following days, the two of them cultivated while challenging the levels. This place was very mysterious. When Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were walking together, they would see 6 middle-aged men in front of them, causing Lu Ming to retreat in shock. Although Qiu Yue had reached the emperor to be realm, She couldn't even fight one middle-aged man, let alone 3. It was obviously impossible for 2 of them to break through the pass together. Therefore, Qiu Yue would enter the mountain and river diagram every time they tried to pass through the levels. This way, there would only be 3 middle-aged strong men. As time passed, Lu Ming's comprehension of the death law became higher and higher. Another month had passed. Lu Ming had been in the canyon for 4 months. At this moment, Lu Ming's mastery of the death precept had reached 50%. When combined with other laws, Lu Ming was already on par with the 3 middle-aged men. He could even suppress them. Fighting with these middle-aged men had improved Lu Ming's speed. Here, one could kill to their heart's content without any apprehension. Every time, Lu Ming would unleash his combat strength to the extreme and continuously squeeze out his potential. At this time, Lu Ming would occasionally let Qiu Yue go forward to challenge the levels. Lu Ming did his best to deal with 5 middle-aged men, while Qiu Yue dealt with 1. This way, Qiu Yue's improvement would be huge. Time flew by quickly, and another month passed. The 2 of them had quite a bit of harvest every day. On this day, Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the path-understanding ancient tree, cultivating with his eyes closed. Suddenly, endless runes appeared around his body. Countless runes began to gather, forming a long river. River of Laws. This was the Array Dao Law. After this period of cultivation, Lu Ming's Array Dao laws had broken through and entered the perfect realm. The laws condensed into a river. At that moment, the power of the Array Dao law coursed through Lu Ming's body and began to temper his physical body. Once the laws formed a river, the corresponding power of laws would once again flow through the body and use the power of laws to temper the body, making the body even stronger. At the same time, the saint energy would also become more condensed and dense. This was also the reason why an emperor to be expert was so much stronger than an expert in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. Lu Ming's body emitted a stir-like sound. It was the vibration of his muscles and the collision of his bones. Qiu Yue sat cross-legged not far away, waiting quietly. A day later, Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation and the river of laws disappeared without a trace. "I'm now an emperor to be." Lu Ming smiled. Right now, he couldn't figure out his specific realm. According to the laws of chaos, he was still in the great circle of the absolute saint stage. However, according to the laws of Array Dao, he was already an emperor to be. But no matter what, his combat strength had indeed increased by a large margin. When the formation path law formed a river, its power increased greatly. At the same time, when the law formed a river, it tempered the body and saint power, and both were improved. One wonder how much my body and saint power will improve when the chaos laws and even the death laws form a river. Lu Ming was filled with anticipation. The river formed by each law would greatly improve the physical body and saint power. If all of his nomological laws formed a river, how much would his combat strength increase? Lu Ming was certain that no one was his match in a battle of the same level. He could even suppress the Son of God with a flip of his hand. What if I comprehend a few more nomological laws? At the thought of this, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If he comprehended a few more nomological laws, his nomological laws would form a river, and he would be even more terrifying. The more he thought about it, the more excited Lu Ming became. He pondered what law he should comprehend next. Chapter 2073. Comprehended 4 types of laws. Chapter 2073. Comprehended 4 types of laws. Lu Ming pondered for a while and decided to start with the law of devouring. The law of devouring was also a powerful king path law. Moreover, the 9 dragons had the devouring power in their bodies. Lu Ming was very familiar with the devouring power. Comprehending the law of devouring was definitely faster than comprehending other laws. Moreover, Lu Ming had a kind of ambition. Since he wanted to understand the laws, he had to understand the king path laws and above. It would be a waste of time to understand the ordinary laws. After all, ordinary laws and chaos laws could be changed directly. Lu Ming controlled his physical body, and a dragon's roar came from within. At the same time, a terrifying devouring power burst out. Lu Ming sensed it carefully and tried to comprehend the law of devouring from the devouring power. Indeed, a few days later, Lu Ming found the way and had some insights. A few days later, Lu Ming had successfully learned the rudiments and had comprehended a trace of the law of devouring. His saint heart had indeed contained many laws, and it was not affected at all. Lu Ming was extremely excited. All of these were things that could only be done by those above the martial emperor realm. However, he was doing it now. Once he broke through to the martial emperor realm in the future, his cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. There would be no shackles, and his improvement would be extremely shocking. It was worth it to spend time comprehending it now. Young master, you're really amazing. You've already mastered 4 types of nomological laws. Qiu Yue walked over. Even though she had always admired Lu Ming, she could not help but look surprised. It was unheard of for a person below the rank of a martial supreme to control 4 types of nomological laws at the same time, and 2 of them were even ultimate nomological laws. Qiu Yue, let's go. Lu Ming smiled. Qiu Yue nodded, and the 2 of them walked forward. The 6 middle-aged men appeared at the same time and attacked Lu Ming and his partner. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl. The laws of chaos, the laws of death, and the laws of array Dao fused together. Lu Ming cast the chaos finger of calamity, pointing 5 times in a row. Qiu Yue charged at the 6th middle-aged man. Whoosh, whoosh. The dazzling saber light was aimed at Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. Qiu Yue successfully blocked one of them. And NBSP 5 saber lights struck the primal chaos tribulation finger. Boom, boom. With 5 consecutive explosions, the blade light shattered and the 5 middle-aged men were forced back. Bang! Lu Ming stepped forward and unleashed his full combat strength, launching a storm of attacks at the 5 middle-aged men. The breakthrough in the array Dao laws had increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a large margin. He was completely suppressing the 5 middle-aged men. After a dozen or so moves, a finger force pierced through the middle of a middle-aged man's eyebrows, killing him and turning him into energy. After killing one of them, the remaining 4 were even less of a match for Lu Ming. After a few moves, Lu Ming killed another one. Bang, bang. Following that, the remaining middle-aged men were all killed by Lu Ming, including the middle-aged man who was fighting with Qiu Yue. After passing this level, the 2 of them continued forward and passed through this area. There was nothing in front of him, no one. Lu Ming sighed slightly. He knew that nianqing had probably already passed the checkpoint and left this place. Qiu Yue, wait here. I'll go up and test the waters. Lu Ming said. Then all right. Be careful, young master. Qiu Yue said. Lu Ming nodded and stepped forward. After walking for a while, another figure appeared. This time, only one figure appeared. It wasn't a middle-aged man, but a young man. This person looked to be in his 20s. His body was straight like a spear and he had a black demonic sword on his back. Only the strongest can pass. Show me your strength, the young man said coldly as he unsheathed his sword. Lu Ming also stepped forward and used the finger of chaotic tribulation to fight with his opponent. This young man's combat strength was shocking. He should be in the emperor-to-be realm, but he was probably even stronger than the Son of God. However, they were still not as strong as the previous 5 middle-aged men. Between 3 middle-aged men and 5 middle-aged men, they were still not Lu Ming's match. After more than 20 moves, the young man was defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue moved forward and passed through the area. However, the canyon seemed to be very long. Looking forward, it was extremely deep. After passing through this area, Lu Ming continued to move forward alone. This time, 2 young men appeared at once. The 2 young men's combat strength increased exponentially when they joined forces. Although Lu Ming gave it his all, they ended up in a draw and he did not manage to clear the trial. It seems that it's really difficult to break out. Lu Ming was a little speechless. At the same time, he was also shocked. The difficulty of this demonic force in the heaven realm's test of its disciples was simply abnormal. Even the Son of God would not be able to pass this level of difficulty. Lu Ming's current combat strength had definitely surpassed a Son of God who was at the emperor-to-be realm. However, he still could not make it. My attacks are still limited. My strongest attack is the Chaos Finger, but it's more suitable for long-range attacks. It's not as good for close combat. One need to learn 1 or 2 more divine abilities. Lu Ming pondered. The chaotic scripture contained many techniques regarding the chaotic laws. Naturally, the chaotic tribulation finger was not the only technique. And NBSP, but in the past, cultivating the primal chaos tribulation finger was enough. Divine power techniques and nomological laws complement each other. Comprehending a divine power technique and continuously cultivating it can increase one's comprehension of nomological laws and increase one's mastery. Therefore, it might not be beneficial to comprehend a few more magical powers. Instead, it might distract him. However, it was different now. Lu Ming had almost comprehended the chaos laws to the limit. There would be no obstacles in cultivating other magical powers. He would be able to cultivate to the peak in a short time. In the Chaos Scripture, Lu Ming chose to cultivate a remarkable power technique called the Chaos Divine Palm. After successfully cultivating the Chaos Divine Palm, one's palm would be like chaos. Every palm strike was like a Chaos Divine mountain pressing down. It was so powerful that it could penetrate the earth and blow up mountains. Now, Lu Ming's law of chaos was almost at 99%. His speed of cultivating the Chaos Divine Palm was like a rocket. In just a few days, he had cultivated to the limit. Its power was not the slightest bit inferior to the primal Chaos Tribulation Finger, especially when it was fused with several laws. Its power was even more astonishing. With one more attack method, Lu Ming put aside the divine power art for the time being and focused on comprehending a few laws. Qiu Yue was also cultivating hard. After becoming an emperor-to-be, one needed to accumulate and then completely integrate the Dharma into the Saint Heart. With the Dharma as the foundation and the Saint Heart as the material, the world would be developed. This step was extremely difficult. Many people were stuck in the emperor-to-be realm for their entire lives. It wasn't something that could be completed in a day. Time passed by quickly. Other than cultivating, Lu Ming would be challenging the levels. Both of them had gained a lot. Lu Ming had been in the canyon for more than 2 years. It had been more than 2.5 years since Lu Ming came to the land of infinite demons. It was less than half a year before the 10 Lands battle. At this moment, Lu Ming finally arrived at the last stage of the canyon. The exit of the canyon could be seen in front of them. It was a door of light. Chapter 2074. Chapter 2074, Escape. Chapter 2074. Chapter 2074 Escape. There was only one figure guarding the last pass of the canyon. He was also a young man, but his combat strength was unbelievably strong. Boom, boom. In the canyon, 2 figures were engaged in a fierce battle, constantly bombarding each other. Lu Ming's entire body was covered in the light of chaos. His palms turned gray as if they were cast from chaos stone and were indestructible. This was the primal Chaos Divine Palm, and every palm strike was earth-shattering. Furthermore, the palm was fused with other nomological laws, making it extremely powerful. However, the young man was able to fight Lu Ming. He was also performing a terrifying palm technique that kept clashing with Lu Ming. Boom, boom. The wind from the palm scraped off a layer of the rocks on the ground. One must know that the rocks here were extremely hard. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them had exchanged over 100 moves. Is this the place where the great forces of the heaven realm tested their disciples in the ancient times? This difficulty is too great. Lu Ming was also extremely shocked. After more than 2 years of cultivation, Lu Ming's chaos laws had long reached 99%. However, it was very difficult to cross this step, cultivate perfectly, and form a river of laws. He needed to accumulate. Although the laws of chaos were not perfect yet, Lu Ming felt that it would be soon. In addition, the law of death was already 80% complete, while the law of devouring had caught up and reached 90%. Lu Ming did not have the corresponding divine ability for the death rule and the devour rule. They could not complement each other, and his cultivation speed was naturally much slower. However, since Lu Ming's current realm was profound and he had been in constant battles, After the battles, he had also comprehended under the path understanding ancient tree. His speed of improvement was extremely fast. 99% chaos law, perfect array Dao law, 80% death law, and 90% devour law. The combination of 2 ultimate maxims and 2 king path maxims, in addition to Lu Ming's powerful spirit body and thick saint energy, was so powerful that Lu Ming found it difficult to gauge his current combat strength. However, with such combat power, it was still not easy to pass the stage. One could see that the difficulty of this canyon's trial was truly astonishing. Could it be that there were so many terrifying heaven's favorites in the ancient times? Then, Lu Ming thought of Xian Yanqing. There was no trace of Xian Yanqing. Obviously, Xian Yanqing had already passed the test. Xian Yanqing's combat power was shocking. How did she suddenly have such combat power? Lu Ming had many doubts in his heart. Bang, bang. In the blink of an eye, another few dozen moves had passed. Lu Ming finally gained the upper hand and began to suppress his opponent. With 4 laws fused, a casual palm could pierce through the void and tear space apart. Gotcha! The other party's palm made a cracking sound and was broken by Lu Ming's palm. Devouring, sealing, death. In an instant, Lu Ming circulated 4 types of laws and countless runes, enveloping his opponent in an attempt to seal him. At the same time, he bombarded his opponent with the power of destruction. Then, there was the law of devouring, which wanted to devour everything about the other party. At the same time, the law of death enveloped the other party, forming a death cage that wanted to pull the other party into the abyss of death. Finally, he used the laws of chaos as his main attack. Bang! Lu Ming's palm landed on the other party's body. The other party's body was penetrated by a terrifying force and finally shattered into pieces. It was a success. Lu Ming finally reached the end and cleared the last level. According to Xian Yanqing, only the strongest below the martial supreme realm could pass it. However, to Lu Ming, he was far from the peak. His other nomological laws had yet to form a river. Young master, you're amazing. Qiu Yue walked over, her eyes shining. Qiu Yue herself had long cultivated to the emperor-to-be realm and had also cultivated the light of law. However, she felt that her combat strength was far from Lu Ming's. Let's go out. Lu Ming smiled. He walked over and held Qiu Yue's hand as they stepped into the door of light. The next moment, they appeared on the peak of a mountain. This place seems to have already left the demonic sea. Lu Ming looked into the distance. The mountains around him were continuous and full of vitality, unlike the dead silence in the demonic sea. I wonder where this place is in the land of myriad demons. I'll go and find out, Lu Ming said. Then he and Qiu Yue turned into 2 streaks of rainbow light and left the place. After flying for some distance, they saw a city. The 2 of them went in and asked around. So this place is in the Eternal Devil Nation. And it's not far from the capital of the Eternal Devil Nation. Lu Ming muttered. He was planning to head to the capital of the Ancient Devil Nation to return the Ancient Demon Coffin to the Ancient Emperor. Even though the Ancient Demon Coffin was precious, it was still the Ancient Devil Nation's treasure. The Ancient Emperor valued it greatly. If he didn't return it, it would be equivalent to offending the Ancient Emperor and the countless experts of the Ancient Devil Nation. It was clearly not a wise move to offend the Eternal Devil Nation over a single Ancient Devil Coffin. Since Qiu Yue had already woken up, he had no use for the Eternal Demonic Coffin for the time being. Also, he was just about to take the teleportation formation back to the Yuan Mountains. After flying for an entire day, they finally arrived at the capital of the Eternal Devil Nation. Back then, Lu Ming had defeated the Ancient Devil and was very famous. When he came to pay his respects to the Ancient Emperor, someone naturally went in to report. Very soon, Lu Ming saw the Ancient Emperor. Lu Ming, you're actually fine. The Ancient Emperor was shocked to see Lu Ming. In the past few years, he had sent a large number of experts and other great emperors into the demonic sea to attack the black-robed men. He had even sent Emperor-to-be into the canyon. However, those emperors-to-be were like stones sinking into the sea. They never came out after entering. It was normal. An ordinary emperor-to-be would have been killed by the guards at the first level. By then, Lu Ming would have passed a few levels and no one would have seen him. Therefore, the ancient emperor was naturally very surprised to see Lu Ming. He used to think that Lu Ming had most likely met with a mishap. I was lucky to escape. Great Emperor, I'm here to return the ancient demon coffin to you, Lu Ming said. Then he waved his hand and the ancient demon coffin appeared in the hall. It's really the ancient demonic coffin. The ancient emperor was overjoyed. He had put in so much effort and paid a huge price, but he still could not get the eternal demonic coffin back. Now that Lu Ming had it back, he was naturally happy. The ancient emperor kept the ancient demonic coffin with a smile on his face. He then looked at Qiu Yue and said, Lu Ming, this little girl is the one you want to save, right? It is. Lu Ming said. Not bad, you're loyal and affectionate. Lu Ming, I won't forget the fact that you've helped me retrieve the eternal demonic coffin. If you need help in the future, I'll do my best to help you. The ancient emperor laughed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Returning the ancient demonic coffin to the ancient emperor was indeed a wise choice. The ancient emperor was a great emperor and the master of the ancient demon nation. He was too powerful. The value of him helping Lu Ming once was immeasurable. Chapter 2075. Chapter 2075, Heading to the Divine Land. Chapter 2075. Chapter 2075 Heading to the Divine Land. After returning the eternal demonic coffin to the eternal emperor, Lu Ming and Ming Yu took the teleportation formation and returned to Mount Yuan. Of course, it was impossible to teleport directly to Mount Yuan. Instead, they were teleported to a place close to Mount Yuan. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue flew to Mount Yuan. Half a month later, they finally returned to ancient Moon Holy Land. The Great Yen Elixir Hall was completely empty. Uncle Kong wasn't present. Lu Ming went to the Phoenix Palace to ask for information. He learned that the Phoenix Palace Master had already brought some people to the Divine Land. He also learned that Huang Ling, Long Chen, Huang Li, and the others had all ended their seclusion and were heading towards the Divine Fated Land. However, the other party told him that the sons of God should still be in seclusion, but the great emperors would send them to the Divine Land. Lu Ming speculated that the few sons of God should be Bubbles, Ouyang Moli, and Xiang. It seems like he'll have to head to the Divine Fated Land too. Lu Ming pondered. Some of them had already gone to the Divine Land, and the great emperors would send some of them over, so he didn't need to worry. After resting for 2 days in Guyu Sanctuary, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue set off for the Divine Fated Land. It was impossible to go to the Divine Land directly by the teleportation formation, because it was too far and there were special reasons. The two of them went through several teleportations and arrived at the edge of the Yuan Mountain. The Divine Land was located in the middle of the Yuan continent, and it was very special, because he was surrounded by the Ring Sea. It was as if a piece of land had been smashed down by an incomparably huge ring, piercing through the earth. That ring had become a Ring Sea, and the part inside the ring was the Divine Land. Apart from the barren lands of the Endless Islands, the other 8 lands were all on the outskirts of the Ring Sea. They surrounded the Divine Land. The Divine Land was undoubtedly the largest, most vast, and most powerful region among the 10 lands of the primordial realm. It was said that the Divine Land was the total area of the other 8 lands, excluding the Forsaken Land. One could imagine how large the Divine Land was. The Divine Land was filled with outstanding people and all kinds of races. There were many sects and ancient clans, and countless forces. The Desolate race, in the distant past, was also a powerful ancient race in the Divine Fated Land. With such prosperity, there were naturally countless geniuses. Especially now that it was the Golden Age, no one knew how many geniuses had been born in the Divine Land. There were probably many top-notch sons of heaven. This time, the Battle of the 10 Lands would be held in the City of Destiny in the Land of the Divine Fate. In other places, if one wanted to go to the Divine Land, they had to pass through the Ring Sea. However, the Ring Sea was too wide, and the environment was extremely harsh. On the Ring Sea, terrifying gales, raindrops, and lightning were commonplace. There were even some regions where space was extremely unstable, with terrifying spatial rifts and void storms appearing. It was too difficult and dangerous to fly across the Ring Sea. Therefore, some powerful forces in the Divine Land developed a kind of warship that could travel across the sea. These warships knew some special routes to avoid danger. Ordinary people who wanted to cross the Ring Sea and head to the Divine Land would have to take this kind of warship, so they naturally had to pay a huge amount of raw gemstones. This was also how the forces in the Divine Land earned raw gemstones. Especially during this period, countless people from other regions had gathered around the Ring Sea to head to the Divine Fate Land. Every time the cross-sea battleships arrived, it would be full. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue arrived at a big city near the ocean. After asking around, they went to the ocean. Boom, boom, boom. Huge waves surged into the sky, deafening the ears. From a distance, the waves that were hundreds of meters high were hitting the coastline one after another. In the middle of the sea, there were a few huge ships. There were a few cross-sea battleships, each of which was tens of thousands of meters long and thousands of meters tall. The dense crowd boarded the cross-sea warship. The Battle of the Ten Lands had never happened before in history. This was the first time. Moreover, it was the Golden Age now, and the overwhelming prodigies were appearing frequently. The peak confrontation would take place in the Divine Fated Land, which attracted too many people. Just Mount Yuan alone would have sent countless people into the land of divine destiny. Every day, a large number of people would board the cross-sea battleship and head toward the Divine Land. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue chose one at random. They paid a large number of raw stones and boarded a cross-sea warship. The cross-sea battleship was very large. It had many floors and many rooms. Everyone who boarded the battleship would be assigned a room. The two of them entered the room to cultivate and waited. A few days later, the battleship began to move and set off for the Divine Land. After the warship was activated, countless people rushed out of the rooms and came to the deck. The scenery around the ocean was magnificent and full of wondrous sights. Many people who were here for the first time naturally did not want to miss it. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue also came to the deck and looked around. Boom, boom, boom. The huge battleship braved the wind and waves, heading in the direction of the Divine Land at an amazing speed. Soon, it left the Yuan Mountain and entered the vast Ring Sea. Chila. In the distance, there was a violent storm and lightning that cut through the void as if it wanted to split the sky. However, a light shield rose on the ship, blocking the rain and wind. Voila! Not long after, they saw a huge creature appear on the surface of the sea. It was a sea beast and it was extremely huge. Although the environment around the Ring Sea was harsh, there were still some sea beasts that lived there, and their strength was also very shocking. Qiu Yue was very curious. She pulled Lu Ming and looked around, chattering nonstop. The journey to the Divine Fated Land would take about half a month. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue were not in a hurry to cultivate. It was a good time to relax. In the Demonic Sea, in order to cross the canyon, Lu Ming had been cultivating every day. He had been jumping very tightly. Now was a good time to relax. He stood on the deck and looked at the endless sea, feeling broad-minded. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. More sea beasts have appeared, and there are quite a number of them. Strange, I've been encountering sea beasts a lot recently. I've heard from other experienced people that although there are sea beasts in the surrounding ocean, due to the harsh environment, there are not many of them. Usually, we would only encounter them by chance. However, we've encountered many of them these days, many of which are in groups. It is indeed strange. Some people were discussing and felt that it was a little strange, but they didn't think too much about it. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. Look, what's that? Not good. Those are sea beasts. There are so many sea beasts. Well, someone cried out in alarm. A dense group of sea beasts had appeared in front of the cross-sea warship, blocking its way. This forced the cross-sea warship to stop. Then, more sea beasts emerged from the sea around the cross-sea warship. The sea-crossing warship was surrounded by a dense number of sea beasts. Thump! Boom! On the warship, the sound of drums rang out. This was an alarm, indicating that they had encountered danger. Chapter 2076. Chapter 2076, Besieged by Sea Beasts. Chapter 2076. Chapter 2076, Besieged by Sea Beasts. The sound of the drums was deafening. Countless people rushed out of the rooms on the battleship and rushed to the deck. When they saw the countless sea beasts around them, their faces turned pale. What's going on? There aren't many sea beasts in the Ring Sea, and they rarely gather together to attack the warships. What's going on? Why are there so many sea beasts gathering all of a sudden? Some of the more experienced people cried out in alarm, their expressions extremely grave. Some people from the chambers of commerce often traveled between the two places and had never encountered such a situation. Everyone, the situation is bad. Prepare to face the enemy. A middle-aged man with a violent aura and a true Emperor realm cultivation said. This man was the captain of the cross-sea battleship, an expert from a major force in the Divine Land. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a giant pillar stretched out of the sea. It was hundreds of thousands of feet long and like a giant stick, it smashed toward the cross-sea warship. Boom. The giant stick struck the light shield of RHE cross-sea warship, causing it to shake violently. At this time, everyone realized that it was not a giant stick at all, but an octopus tentacle. Sure enough, next moment, the sea churned, and a huge monster emerged from the sea. It was a huge octopus, even bigger than a mountain and a cross-sea warship. Boom. The 8 tentacles of our octopus waved like 8 giant whips and whipped toward the cross-sea warship. The cross-sea warship shook violently as if it was going to be overturned at any moment. How did this happen? Countless people's faces turned pale. This octopus was definitely a terrifying existence. It should be a true Emperor-level creature, and its aura was too strong. In addition, there were many powerful existences among the sea beasts in all directions. If the cross-sea warship was destroyed, they would be in danger when facing so many sea beasts and the harsh environment around the sea. Many people's faces turned pale. In the past, he had heard that it was very safe to take the cross-sea warship. There were very few accidents. Why did something happen the moment they took the warship? Evil creature, you're looking for death. The captain of the cross-sea battleship, the middle-aged man, shouted and rushed out of the light shield. A saber appeared in his hand and he slashed. A blade light, tens of thousands of feet long, cut through the void and slashed at the octopus. An octopus tentacle was cut off by the blade light, and its blood dyed the sea red. Golly! The octopus let out a strange roar, as if it was enraged. The remaining tentacles attacked the burly man. The burly man continued to slash out blade lights, fighting against the octopus. Both of them were extremely powerful beings with monstrous strength. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Right at this moment, a heaven-shaking roar came from the sea. The water churned and another huge creature appeared. A true dragon. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. A huge creature appeared in the sea. It was actually a true dragon. It was a blue dragon. Its entire body was blue, and it was sparkling and resplendent. Its body was over 30,000 meters long. Its 2 huge eyes coldly looked at the cross-sea warship, and its terrifying aura made people tremble. He was also a powerful true emperor. Senior, why are you attacking us? Can you let us go? A young man stepped forward and spoke to the true dragon. Then, the young man's body began to change. He was also a true dragon. In the land of Mount Yuan, there were countless spiritual elegant mountain peaks, and naturally, there were some true dragons living there. However, the huge true dragon in the sea didn't give in. It roared and attacked the cross-sea warship. Boom. As the blue true dragon stepped forward, the sea water roared and turned into water pillars, blasting toward the sea-crossing warship. The cross-sea battleship shook, and the light shield kept shaking. If this continued, it would not be able to hold for long. However, what made them feel despair was that another giant creature appeared in another direction. It was a shark and it was extremely huge. It was no weaker than the true dragon, and it also attacked the Trans-Sea warship. Everyone now, let's all run for our lives. The cross-sea battleship was a powerful force in the Divine Land. Naturally, there were many people on the battleship. At this moment, an elder, who was also a powerful existence, spoke. Boom, boom. The cross-sea battleship kept shaking, and finally, with a bang, the defensive shield was broken. The true dragon let out a long roar and stepped on RHC. Its mountain-like dragon claws grabbed at the cross-sea battleship and tore a piece of the ship. The old man charged at the true dragon. However, the shark crashed into the warship, almost breaking it apart. At the same time, countless sea beasts roared and charged over from all directions. Run! Run, run, run! On the cross-sea battleship, countless people rushed in all directions. Lu Ming and Qiu Yue also rushed down from the sea-crossing warship at the first moment and rushed toward the depths of RC. Gah! The sea beasts let out all sorts of strange cries. He realized that the powerful ones among the sea beasts had their eyes on the beings on the warship at once. Many of RHE beings above the rank of Martial Supreme were fighting with each other. On the other hand, the sea beasts below the Martial Supreme realm attacked the people or divine beasts below the Martial Supreme realm. A chaotic battle broke out on the sea's surface. It was extremely tragic. People kept screaming and falling into RC, dying here forever. Of course, there were also sea beasts that were killed, and their blood stained the sea. Qiu Yue, you enter the mountain and river diagram first. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Qiu Yue. Qiu Yue nodded. She knew that her abilities were far inferior to Lu Ming's. It would be more convenient for Lu Ming to move alone. After storing Qiu Yue into RHE mountain and river diagram, Lu Ming flew toward the depths of RHE Ring Sea. A huge silver swordfish, like a divine sword, lulled a human absolute saint and charged at Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming struck out with his palm and killed the swordfish. Its body was torn into pieces. However, more sea beasts pounced at Lu Ming from all directions. Lu Ming waved his palm continuously, killing 7 RO8 sea beasts. There are too many sea beasts. If this continues, it'll be very difficult to break through. Lu Ming frowned. He would be in danger if he was targeted by the powerful Void Emperor or even RHE True Emperor. After all, during the battle in the Demonic Sea, Lu Ming had controlled the Celestial Thearch's body to fight against 2 great emperors. There was not much energy left in RHE Celestial the Arch's body. He could no longer control it if it was less than 10%. Without a Celestial Emperor corporeal body, he could only rely on himself to charge through. Into the sea. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He plunged into the sea and swam toward the depths of the sea. As RHE saying goes, RHE most dangerous place is the safest place. Those sea beasts were either on RHE surface of the sea or in the air, chasing after humans and divine beasts. Their power in the sea would definitely be much weaker. As expected, after Lu Ming entered the sea, he realized that there were fewer sea beasts. Most of the sea beasts' eyes were on the surface. Lu Ming swam forward rapidly. However, just because there were few sea beasts did not mean that there were none. There were still sea beasts that had their eyes on Lu Ming and were charging at him. Chapter 2077, Shenxiao Sect? Chapter 2077, Shenxiao Sect. Lu Ming pointed his fingers a few times in a row, shooting out finger forces and killing a few sea beasts. However, Lu Ming's combat strength had finally attracted the attention of a powerful sea beast. It was a seal the size of a mountain, and it pounced at Lu Ming. It's equivalent to a 2-star Void Emperor. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly when he sensed the aura of the other party. However, he was not afraid at all. He rushed towards the seal and used the Chaos Divine Palm. His palm turned gray and misty, containing the power of 4 types of laws. Bang! Lu Ming's palm landed on one of the seal's claws. The seal's body trembled and its claws were split open by Lu Ming. Blood flowed out continuously as its huge body was forced to retreat. The seal was extremely shocked. It was a 2-star illusionary emperor. In the sea, It had immense strength and combat strength. However, it was not Lu Ming's match and was injured by Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming's aura was not at the martial emperor realm yet, but he had such powerful combat strength, which shocked him. Buzz. Lu Ming did not linger in the battle. He dashed forward and swam forward. The seal did not dare to pursue him. After that, Lu Ming continued to kill a few more sea beasts and gradually left the battlefield. At this moment, Lu Ming noticed that there was a young man following behind him. The sea water churned as a few emperor-to-be sea beasts chased after the young man. The young man waved his hands and a few figures appeared beside him. A puppet. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the room and realized that the few figures beside the young man were puppets. They were human-shaped puppets that looked like real people, and they all carried a sword like this on their backs. However, there was no life force on its body. Therefore, Lu Ming could tell at a glance that it was a puppet. A few puppets rushed out and fought with the sea beasts. The puppet's body was fearless of death and pain. Its combat strength was amazing. It suppressed the sea beasts and killed them in a few moves. What a wondrous puppet art! Lu Ming was a little shocked. That was because those puppets actually knew the art of divine power and could control the power of laws. It was truly unbelievable. Lu Ming knew a little about the puppet technique. When his cultivation level was still weak, he had studied puppetry in the divine wilderness continent. At that time, his puppetry skills were not low. However, this young man's puppetry was many times more brilliant than his. I've never heard of any power that specializes in puppeteering in the Yuan Mountain. Could it be that this person isn't someone from the Yuan Mountain? Lu Ming had an idea in his mind and he continued to move forward. However, he realized that the young man was following behind him. Lu Ming frowned slightly. What made Lu Ming frown even more was that not long after, a few more sea beasts came after him. To be more precise, they were not chasing Lu Ming but the young man. The young man controlled the puppet and killed a few sea beasts before following Lu Ming. Lu Ming frowned and stopped. When the young man approached, he said coldly, "This brother, why have you been following me? Brother, can you do us a favor? We can leave this sea area together." The young man cupped his fists and said. The young man was dressed in a yellow robe and was quite handsome. He didn't give off an overbearing feeling and was very polite. "Why should I help you?" Lu Ming said with a sullen face. He didn't know the other party, so why would he help him? "Brother, to tell you the truth, I'm in the Divine Land, a disciple of the Divine Puppet Sect. The Divine Puppet Sect is named after puppets. If you help me, I can give you a rare flying puppet. Its speed is amazing, and it can reach a speed of 100 times that of the space-breaking shuttle." After the young man finished speaking, he waved his hand, and a puppet that looked like an eagle appeared. It can reach 100 times the speed of a flying shuttle. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This kind of puppet was definitely rare and very valuable. It was most suitable for transportation. To be honest, Lu Ming was a little tempted. The land of divine destiny, Shenxiao Sect? To be honest, I'm very interested in your puppetry. Lu Ming's eyes turned and he smiled. He was indeed very interested in the other party's puppetry technique. The puppets he refined could actually display nomological laws. If he could master it, it would be of great help at critical moments. "Brother, do you want to learn the art of puppetry?" "Sure, as long as we reach the divine fated land, you can follow me to the divine vulture sect to learn. One can also pass on some secret puppet techniques to you." The young man said. "Shenxiao sect's puppetry technique is willing to be taught to outsiders?" Lu Ming was suspicious. "Brother, you might not know this, but the Shenxiao sect is not a sect in the traditional sense. The Shenxiao sect is formed by many powerhouses who are proficient in puppetry. The purpose is to attract more people who are proficient in puppetry to join. Therefore, in the Shenxiao sect, everyone is encouraged to exchange the Tao of puppets and various secret techniques with each other. It is not forbidden to spread it," the yellow-robed young man explained. The yellow-robed young man tossed a jade talisman to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He found that there were indeed many secret skills related to puppets. "Why didn't you find someone else? Why did you have to find me?" Lu Ming asked casually. It's because your combat strength is strong. You're not even a martial supreme, but you've injured a 2-star illusionary divine seal with one move. This level of combat strength is really incredible. I didn't expect that there would be a heaven's favorite like you in the Yuan Mountain. The yellow-robed young man's eyes were filled with surprise. Previously, when he saw Lu Ming's combat strength, he was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. Then he'll take this puppet as well. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the goshawk puppet. The yellow-robed young man was overjoyed. Lu Ming had accepted the puppet, which meant that he had agreed to help him. Then, the two of them walked forward. Lu Ming found out that the yellow-robed young man was called Di Kai. It was obvious that he was also a heaven's favorite. He had a king's body, and the laws he controlled were the laws of craftsmanship. Artifact Dao laws were also a type of King Dao laws, and they were on par with Array Dao laws. The law of craftsmanship could control all the weapons in the world and was much more superior than the law of weapons of the Wan family. The weapon law could only control metallic weapons, but the law of craftsmanship could control any weapon. However, not long after the two of them advanced, a few more sea beasts chased after them, and they were easily dealt with by the two of them. However, after traveling for a while, they encountered sea beasts again. This made Lu Ming frown. They had already left the battlefield. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be so many sea beasts chasing after them. However, the fact was that there were sea beasts constantly chasing after them, as if they had locked onto them. A huge sea lion roared and broke through the water with a shocking aura. A 1-star illusionary emperor-level sea beast. Chi Kai's face was a little pale. Lu Ming rushed forward and fought with the sea lion. In just a few moves, the 1-star illusionary emperor sea lion was split open by Lu Ming's palm and died an unnatural death. Brother Lu's combat strength is truly shocking. Seeing Lu Ming kill a 1-star illusionary emperor sea lion with just a few moves with his own eyes, Di Kai's heart was in turmoil, and he could not calm down. Chapter 2078. Chapter 2078. Arriving at the Divine Land. Chapter 2078. Chapter 2078. Arriving at the Divine Land. It wasn't as if he had never seen the Son of God, who was born in the land of God. The battle strength of the Son of Heaven was indeed amazing. A Son of Heaven who had reached the Emperor-to-be realm could indeed fight with a 1-star Void Emperor and even suppress him. The stronger Son of Heaven, after reaching the Emperor-to-be level, could even defeat a 1-star Void Emperor, but it would be difficult to kill him. He had never heard of someone like Lu Ming, who could kill a 1-star Emperor-to-be in a few moves. The Battle of the 10 Lands this time will probably be extremely intense. I wonder what kind of freaks will appear? Chuai Kai couldn't help but think. Brother He, are you hiding something from me? Lu Ming's eyes were bright as he looked at the man. He felt that something was wrong. Those sea beasts seemed to have locked onto them and were chasing after them. Brother Lu, why do you say that? Nie Kai's expression changed slightly. These sea beasts are obviously coming for us. I don't have anything. You're the only one they're after. Besides, I'm really curious. You're a heaven's favorite of the Divine Destiny Land. Why did you come to the Yuan Mountain? Now, people from all over the world are gathering toward the Divine Land. Lu Ming said, I knew I couldn't hide it from you, Brother Lu. To be honest, a few months ago, I set off from the Divine Fated Land and entered the Ring Sea. I stole a treasure from the Ring Sea. This treasure is very useful for refining puppets. However, at that time, I was being chased by sea beasts and all the people who followed me died. I was lucky and escaped to Yuan Mountain. This time, I was preparing to return, but I didn't expect to be targeted by sea beasts. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. It seems like the sea beasts attacked the ship this time because of you. He said. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. He finally understood why there were so many sea beasts attacking the ship for no reason. This was all because he had stolen a peerless treasure from the sea. I didn't expect it to turn out like this either. I've already laid down layers of seals on that treasure, and I thought that the sea beasts wouldn't be able to sense it. Now, it seems like the sea beasts still have a trace of it, or they wouldn't have attacked the ship. And there wouldn't be sea beasts constantly chasing after me. Cao Kai smiled bitterly. It seems like the sea beasts only sensed it a little. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a bunch of shrimp soldiers chasing after you, but a true emperor. Lu Ming said. Brother Lu, do you have a solution? Richard said. Yes, you can leave that treasure to me for safekeeping. One can completely isolate the aura of the treasure. Lu Ming smiled slightly and looked at the splitting. All right. To Lu Ming's surprise, Nie Kai nodded and took out a storage ring, handing it to Lu Ming. It must be known that it was definitely a peerless treasure since it could attract so many powerful sea beasts. Lu Ming had not expected it to be split open and handed over to him. Brother Lu, the treasure is in the storage ring. I've overlapped several storage rings and placed them in my Eden treasure, but I didn't expect that I still couldn't completely isolate it. Gao Kai sighed. With his status, he naturally did not lack Grotto Heaven treasures. Brother He, don't worry. They'll return it to you. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the storage ring that he had split open into two into the mountain and river diagram. Naturally, Lu Ming did not rely on the mountain and river diagram to isolate the aura of the treasure. Even if he used an Eden treasure to cut it open, it would not be able to isolate it. Naturally, the mountain and river diagram would be useless as well. Lu Ming relied on the divine breath technique. The mountain and river diagram was in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. Lu Ming used the divine breath technique to completely conceal the aura in his body and isolate it. Naturally, at the same time, it also isolated the aura emitted by the sea of consciousness. After that, the two of them continued to move forward. As expected, they did not attract any more sea beasts. The two of them continued on their journey, and after a day, the two of them flew out of the sea. Brother Lu, we won't be able to reach the divine land if we go like this. The ocean is constantly changing, and it's easy to get lost. There are also many dangerous places. We need to stop a cross-sea warship to reach the divine land. Richard said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Di Kai was a proud son of heaven in the land of a divine destiny. He knew more about the Ring Sea. After that, he took out a puppet and suspended it in the air. The two of them sat on the puppet and waited quietly. Now, they could only try their luck and see if there were any cross-sea warships passing by. Fortunately, during this period of time, there were many cross-sea warships coming and going, so they might be able to encounter them. As for Lu Ming, he sat on the puppet and studied the puppet technique. The puppet technique recorded in the Jade Talisman given by Qi Kai was extremely profound. However, Lu Ming already had the foundation of puppetry. Most importantly, he had mastered the Array Dao laws. Although the laws of Array Dao didn't match the puppetry techniques like the laws of craftsmanship, inscriptions and runes were also necessary to refine puppets. Therefore, by controlling the Array Dao laws and comprehending the puppetry technique, he could achieve twice the result with half the effort. Just like that, they waited here for half a month. Boom, boom, boom. In front of them, a huge object was sailing over. It was the sea-crossing warship, and it was heading from the Yuan Mountain to the Divine Land. The two of them released their auras and made a commotion, attracting the attention of the people on the cross-sea warship. As the cross-sea battleship approached, one of the powerhouses stared at them and said, "What's wrong with you? Why did it appear in the Ring Sea?" "My lord, our cross-sea warship was attacked by sea beasts more than half a month ago and was blown up. We escaped," Qi Kai replied. "So, you're the survivors of that cross-sea warship. Come on." That expert's expression changed, and then he let the two of them board the ship. The last time the cross-sea battleship was attacked by the sea beasts, many people had survived. This news had already spread, and the cross-sea battleships passing by had naturally heard of it. Since they had encountered survivors, they naturally didn't mind giving them a ride. Of course, raw gemstones had to be paid. The two of them boarded the cross-sea battleship. The cross-sea battleship was restarted and they headed toward the Divine Land. This time, there was no more danger. After 7 days, they finally crossed the Ring Sea and arrived at the Divine Fated Land. What a rich origin Qi! The origin Qi in the Divine Land is even richer than that in Yuan Mountain. After getting off the cross-sea warship and arriving at the shore, Lu Ming took a deep breath. Brother Lu, the Shenxiao sect is a force near the sea. You can go there from the nearby teleportation array, Richard said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. It was his first time in the Divine Land and he was unfamiliar with the people and the place. He needed to find a place to settle down and get to know the place better. Moreover, there were still more than 4 months before the Battle of the 10 Lands. It was still early, so he was not in a hurry to go to Destiny City. He could take a look around. Brother He, this is your storage ring. Lu Ming returned the storage ring that he had split open. Many thanks, Brother Lu. Chu Kai received it and expressed his gratitude. When he handed the storage ring to Lu Ming previously, he was already prepared that Lu Ming would not return it. If Lu Ming did not return it, he could not do anything about it. Lu Ming returned the storage ring to him. He was rather touched and admired Lu Ming. He was indeed impressed that he was unmoved by the treasure in front of him. Chapter 2079, The Gathering of Geniuses? Chapter 2079, The Gathering of Geniuses. The Shenxiao sect was located along the coast of the divine fated land. It was a sect formed by many experts who were profound in puppetry. They emphasized mutual exploration and the idea of common progress. Therefore, relatively speaking, the Shenxiao sect was very free. Lu Ming brought Qiu Yue and Di Kai to the Shenxiao sect, but no one cared. What a wondrous puppet! Walking within the Shenxiao sect, Qiu Yue exclaimed. Inside the Shenxiao sect, all kinds of puppets could be seen everywhere. There were beast-shaped ones, human-shaped ones, and some human-shaped ones, which were almost exactly the same as humans. These puppets were helping the Shenxiao sect with various matters, such as mining, refining, and even planting spiritual herbs and sacred medicines. There were many things that didn't need to be handled by people, and were directly handed over to the puppets. I heard that when the puppetry technique is cultivated to the highest level, it can allow the puppet to gain sentience and become no different from a living being. That's truly wondrous. Chu Kai sighed. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He thought of Earth 1, Gold 1, and the others in the Chaos Hall. Weren't they puppets? They were no different from normal living beings. Following that, Lu Ming and Qiu Yue would stay in the Shenxiao sect for the time being. There were some places in the Shenxiao sect that could help people comprehend the puppetry. Lu Ming walked around the Shenxiao sect, comprehending the puppet technique. Of course, he wouldn't put all his energy into puppetry. His own cultivation was the most important. Puppeteering only required a little bit of proficiency. Half a month later, Lu Ming's puppetry technique had improved greatly. He could now control a few powerful puppets with his soul power. This way, it was almost enough. Today, Di Kai found Lu Ming and Qiu Yue. He told Lu Ming that in a few days, there would be 2 powerful sons of heaven fighting on the ancient emperor stage. These 2 sons of God were also the sons of death. 2 children of death? Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Now, the paragons from all over the world have poured into the divine land. In addition to the paragons of the divine land itself, the number of paragons is truly as high as the clouds. It has reached an unprecedented level and is extremely brilliant. The Battle of the 10 Lands hasn't started yet. The paragons of the various lands are wandering around the land of divine destiny. From time to time, there will be clashes. The battles between the paragons happen often, especially those who control the same law. They all want to surpass each other and become the only one. The battle is even more intense. Chi Kai explained. Lu Ming nodded. This was inevitable. Moreover, before the battle in the 10 Lands, he could feel out his opponent's strength so that he would have an idea of what to do. The battle between the 2 sons of God has attracted a large number of heaven's favorites. Do you want to go and take a look? Richard said. Go. Lu Ming nodded. Now that he had comprehended the death law, he might be able to gain some insights by watching the battles between the other children of death. Also, he was very curious about who the 2 children of death were. He had seen 2 children of death before. One was the Death Blade, and the other was Ji Long from the land of myriad demons. Was it the 2 of them? Perhaps there were others who had mastered the law of death? They immediately set off. The ancient emperor stage was a 2-day journey away from here. The battle was scheduled for 3 days later. They didn't want to waste any time, just in case they couldn't make it. 2 days later, they arrived at a small city near the ancient emperor stage and rested there for a night. On the second day, it was the day of the battle between the two children of death. They then headed towards the ancient emperor stage. When they arrived, the place was already packed with people. At a glance, many of them were young Heaven's Pride experts, and there were also some of the older generation. All of them were standing around a platform. This platform looked extremely ancient and was filled with the marks of time. This was the ancient emperor platform. According to the legends, there were ancient heavenly emperors who comprehended Tao here. This platform was sturdy and immortal, and it had also become the place where many powerhouses fought. Around the platform, there were 9 stone pillars that pierced through the sky, giving off a feeling of superiority. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the crowd and he found a few familiar faces. For example, Wei Tiandao and the others were all geniuses of the Yuan Mountain. Back then, they had cultivated together in the Yuan Mountain's sacred academy. Buzz. At this moment, a figure flashed and rushed up to one of the 9 stone pillars. He stood on top of the stone pillar and looked down on everyone. Who is this person? You dare to stand on the gazing emperor pillar with such confidence? Could it be that he's a son of God? If not, he'll definitely be beaten into a pig head. Some people cried out in surprise, while others sneered gloatingly. Lu Ming understood the meaning of the gazing emperor pillar after the explanation. He was not looking at any ordinary martial sovereign, but the heavenly sovereign. Stepping onto the gazing the emperor pillar represented talent, potential, and status. Only the strongest heaven's favorites could stand on top of the pillar. If an ordinary person stepped on it, they would definitely be thrown off. Buzz. Not long after, another figure stepped onto the gazing emperor pillar. This was a handsome young man wearing a purple and gold robe, and his face was filled with cold arrogance. That's Liusu. He only has a king body. Although I've heard that he has cultivated the light of laws and is very powerful, I'm afraid he's not strong enough to stand on the emperor gazing pillar. That's right. Just watch. Someone is definitely going to make a move. Seeing the purple and golden-robed young man fly up the emperor-gazing pillar, the surrounding people began to discuss. Just as the crowd was discussing, a young man in a black robe appeared in the air. Step by step, he walked toward Liusu, and his powerful aura crushed toward Liusu. A mere king physique and you want to step onto the gazing emperor pillar? Get the hell out. The black-robed young man said indifferently, and the aura on his body became stronger and stronger. Let's see if you have the ability to make me go down. You're courting death. Liusu said coldly. A terrifying aura erupted from his body as a beam of light spread out and covered his entire body. Not only that, but there was also a purple river that danced around him, making him look like a god. Light of law, river of law. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. As expected of the geniuses from all over the world. There were too many geniuses in the divine destiny land. This Liusu was definitely powerful. He had a peerless king body and had already reached the emperor to be realm. He had also cultivated the light of laws. In the past, when it was rare for a child of heaven to appear, he would definitely be a heaven's favorite who could suppress the world. If the son of heaven didn't appear, who could compete with him? Even in the golden age, he was still a top-notch genius. However, the black-robed young man's expression remained calm. There was even a hint of disdain as he said, "If you don't get lost, then I'll make you get lost." Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. The space seemed to tremble, and 6 pitch-black vortexes suddenly appeared behind the black-robed young man. The vortex kept spinning, as if it was trying to suck people's minds in. The 6 paths of reincarnation, it's the law of reincarnation. This is a child of samsara. I know who he is. It's Yu He. He's Yu He, the peerless genius of the divine destiny land. Many people exclaimed. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This person was also a scion of samsara, just like Ouyang Moli. If this person were to encounter Ouyang Moli, there would probably be a battle. The moment Yus' law of reincarnation appeared, Zelias's expression turned ugly. Chapter 2080, The Six Sons of God. Chapter 2080, The Six Sons of God. Are you going to get down yourself, or do you want me to make you get out? Yuhi looked at Zeliasu indifferently, his disdain growing. Zelias's expression was extremely ugly. She gritted her teeth and said, "So what if he's the son of Samsara? I'm going to see how powerful the law of Samsara is today." "You're overestimating yourself." Yuhi coldly spoke as he stepped forward. Boom. The 6 vortexes on Yuhi's back moved with him and shot toward Zeliosu. The 6 vortexes spun rapidly and exploded with terrifying power, trying to pull Zeliosu in and drag him into the cycle of reincarnation. Zelias's expression was extremely serious. He exploded with all his power, and purple light burst forth from his body, forming a purple sword light that slashed toward Yuha. Zeliosu had used all his strength in this move. It was powerful enough to shock ordinary people. However, he was facing a scion of Samsara. Boom. The whirlpool of the 6 paths of reincarnation pressed down and Zelias's sword radiance disintegrated into purple light spots. Zelias's body shook violently and was sent flying like a cannonball. He spat out a mouthful of blood in the air. Everyone was shocked. One move, just one move, and Zeliosu was defeated. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and could not even withstand a single blow. Is the difference between the king physique and the son of God that big? Someone said unwillingly. This was also a king body. Yis cultivation must have reached the emperor-to-be realm as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Zeliosu in one move. However, the difference between the son of heaven and the body of a king is indeed huge. In a battle of the same level, the body of a king is no match for the son of heaven. Unless the son of heaven didn't cultivate the light of law. In that case, it's possible to compete with the king physique, but the chances of losing are still high. Some of the geniuses sighed. There's no need to sigh. The Son of God does indeed have an absolute advantage below the martial supreme realm. He's almost invincible in a battle of the same realm, but that's only for those below the martial supreme realm. After reaching the martial emperor realm, one can comprehend many laws. Some of them don't even have the king body. Great talents mature late. Before the martial emperor realm, their performance was mediocre, but after breaking through to the martial emperor realm, they rose up in one fell swoop and comprehended the strongest law. It's enough to compete with or even defeat the Son of God. A young man spoke, full of confidence in himself. Many people's eyes lit up with hope when they heard this. Yes, that was indeed the case. The so-called king's body and the Son of God only gave him a temporary advantage. However, after he became a martial sovereign, this advantage would weaken. This was because martial sovereigns could comprehend a variety of laws. Some people below the rank of martial sovereigns could only comprehend ordinary laws. However, after breaking through to the rank of a martial sovereign, they could comprehend an ultimate law in one go. They would then break through all the barriers and become unparalleled experts. There were many such examples in history. After defeating Zeliosu, Yuha landed on the emperor-gazing pillar and stood with his hands behind his back, exuding an overbearing aura. Zeliosu glared at Yuhi, but in the end, she didn't step on the other gazing emperor pillars. If one's strength was insufficient, even if they stepped on it, they would be blasted down. Some of the other king bodies were also tempted, but they held back. At this moment, some people looked at the young man who was the first to step onto the gazing emperor pillar. This person was dressed in a white robe. Even after seeing Yuhi defeat Zeliosu, his expression remained calm. Everyone immediately knew that this person was also a son of God. The 2 sons of death hadn't even arrived yet, and 2 sons of heaven had already appeared. This made everyone look forward to it. When the children of heaven gather, will they have a duel first? Haha, it's really lively. A loud laugh sounded out as a red-robed young man stepped through the air and directly landed on one of the gazing the emperor pillars. Some people recognized that this was also a son of God from the land of divine destiny. The divine land was the most powerful land in the primordial realm. It was vast and boundless. Apart from the desolate land, the other 8 lands added together were only as big as the divine land. There were naturally many geniuses. It was said that the divine land had each of the 10 ultimate maxims. Some even had more than one ultimate maxim. It was truly shocking for the top 10 to gather in one place. Amitabha! A Buddhist proclamation sounded, and a young monk stepped through the air. A snow-white cassock fluttered in the wind, untainted by dust and dirt. The monk also landed on one of the emperor-gazing pillars. "It's Saint Monk Wuqian of Boundless Temple." Someone exclaimed in shock. "Saint Monk Wuqian is here too." One heard that he controls the law of karma, one of the 10 strongest laws. "Everything is within karma." Someone said solemnly. "The law of karma." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The law of karma was also one of the top 10 laws. Without a doubt, it was an extremely terrifying and mysterious law. Everything in the world had cause and effect, and the cycle of cause and effect formed the world. To be able to control the law of karma and to be able to control karma, this was definitely terrifying. It could kill people without them noticing. For now, it was the 4th child of God. Many people were looking forward to seeing if these children of heaven would start a war. At this moment, 2 streaks of light flew over from the distance. These 2 rainbow lights were also 2 young men. They did not slow down and landed on the Wangdi pillar. "It's him!" Lu Ming recognized one of them. He was the son of the Void, the top genius of the immortal demon kingdom in the land of infinite demons. Some people recognized the other person. He was a peerless genius of the divine fated land. 6 sons of God. Someone exclaimed. This time, it's a golden age that's rarely seen since ancient times. Many sons of God have been born in various places. My land of 10,000 demons has 40,000 sons of heaven. As the crowd discussed, some of the geniuses from the land of infinite demons proudly said, "It was already very shocking that there were 4 children of God in one place. How many sons of God are there in your Yuan mountain?" Someone asked the heaven's favorites from Mount Yuan. 6 of you. A heaven's favorite from Mount Yuan replied. 6? You're just bragging. How can there be 6 of you in your Yuan mountain? The paragons of the land of myriad demons immediately became suspicious. Among the 10 lands of the primordial realm, apart from the Forsaken Land, the strength of Yuan Mountain was considered weak. Now, the heaven's favorite of Yuan Mountain actually said that there were 6 sons of heaven in Yuan Mountain, which immediately aroused suspicion. Many people cast contemptuous looks at the Yuan Mountain. Being looked down upon by others, the heaven's favorites of Yuan Mountain were unhappy. Of course, Wei Tiandao said, "There are indeed 6 sons of heaven in our Mount Yuan. They are the son of chaos, the son of eternity, the son of death, the son of space-time, the son of life, and the son of samsara." What? There's a son of chaos in Yuan Mountain? It's getting more and more outrageous. It's possible to say that there are other sons of heaven, but it's most likely a lie to say that there's a son of chaos. Some people looked at him with disdain. Although the 10 ultimate maxims were equally famous and ranked side by side, there were actually 2 maxims that were the rarest and had the lowest probability of appearing in history: the laws of chaos and the laws of fate. Chapter 2081. Chapter 2080, Crushing Those of the Same Level. Chapter 2081. Chapter 2080, Crushing Those of the Same Level, the Laws of Chaos and the Laws of Fate. These 2 laws were stronger and more profound than the other ultimate laws. The law of fate, as its name suggested, could control fate. All things in the world had fate. This law was extremely terrifying. The laws of chaos existed even before the heavens and earth were created. Everything in the world was born from chaos. The laws of chaos were known as the Emperor of Laws. It was not just for show. Therefore, when many people heard that there was a son of chaos in Yuan Mountain, they found it hard to believe. "We're telling the truth." Wei Tiandao and the rest said. Although Wei Tiandao had a grudge against Lu Ming, he had to mention Lu Ming at this time or he would be looked down upon. The others were bewildered. Could it be that the son of chaos had really been born in Yuan Mountain? Then the battle of the 10 lands this time would probably be even more intense. That was because there was also a son of chaos in the divine land. He was unimaginably powerful and had almost defeated all the enemies in the divine land. There were so many paragons in the divine land, but only a few were a match for the son of chaos. Even some of the other sons of heaven had lost to him. If there really was a son of chaos in Yuan Mountain, who would be stronger if the two of them were to fight? As everyone discussed, Lu Ming smiled and was not too bothered. "Brother Lu, aren't you going up to occupy one of the emperor-gazing pillars?" He opened his eyes and looked at Lu Ming. He was very clear about Lu Ming's combat strength. It was terrifying and shocking. He was definitely a son of God, an extremely terrifying one. Lu Ming's eyes also revealed his desire. Didn't he come to the divine land to fight against these top heavens favorites and improve himself? In the Yuan Mountain, he had almost no opponents. Ever since the battle at the Lotus Flower World in the Star River, he had not appeared. Now that so many children of heaven had appeared, Lu Ming's body also exuded a trace of fighting spirit. "Qiu Yue, wait for me here," Lu Ming said to Qiu Yue. "Young master, go. All the best." Qiu Yue waved her little fist. Lu Ming smiled and his figure soared into the sky. Then, he flew towards one of the gazing emperor pillars and landed on one of them. Many people could not help but look at Lu Ming. "It's him!" The paragons of Yuan Mountain were shocked when they saw Lu Ming. In the Yuan Mountain, Lu Ming's reputation had already reached its peak. Not only had he defeated the Star River, but he had also controlled the heavenly emperor's body and killed several martial sovereigns in succession. In the end, he had even abused the great emperor of the He clan. Such a battle record was truly like a magnitude 12 earthquake. "He is the son of chaos in my Yuan Mountain." A heavens chosen from the Yuan Mountain spoke. "What?" Many people were shocked and looked at Lu Ming. This was the son of chaos in Yuan Mountain? Was he the real son of chaos? Even the sons of God on the gazing emperor pillar looked at Lu Ming. Some of them were filled with fighting spirit. "Son of chaos? I'd like to see how strong your combat power is." Sure enough, someone moved. It was a gray-robed young man with a burly figure. Previously, someone had recognized that this person came from the land of Heavenly Barbarian, one of the 10 lands of the Yuan continent. He was a son of primordial chaos who controlled the primordial chaos laws. Primordial chaos laws and chaos laws were the most similar among the 10 ultimate laws. The chaos had yet to open, and the primordial chaos had yet to be judged. However, the world had always placed chaos laws above primordial chaos laws. Now that the son of primordial chaos saw Lu Ming, he naturally revealed his fighting spirit. Boom. This person was called Huang Meng. At this moment, a powerful aura burst out from him as he stepped on the air and flew towards Lu Ming. Absolute saint in the great circle. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that Huang Meng's cultivation was at the peak of the perfected absolute saint realm. He was only one step away from the emperor to be realm. Boom. Huang Meng took action very directly. He was like a primordial beast, his entire body suffused with primordial chaos laws. Primordial chaos laws were like chaos laws, as heavy as mountains. Huang Meng threw a punch, and a terrifying fist force headed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming activated the Chaos Divine Palm. His palm was like a chaos stone and he slapped it at Huang Meng. Thump. The sky shook like a huge drum, and a shocking boom erupted. Then, a figure retreated continuously, the void trembled under his feet. It was Huang Meng. The one who retreated was Huang Meng. As for Lu Ming, he was standing on the gazing emperor pillar, motionless. "It's the law of chaos. It's really the law of chaos," someone exclaimed. Before he made a move, some people still did not believe it. Now that he made a move, they finally saw that Lu Ming was really using the laws of chaos. A son of chaos had really appeared in Yuan Mountain. "Again, die!" Huang Meng shouted. A layer of nomological light emanated from his body as he charged at Lu Ming again. He punched out continuously. Each punch was as heavy as a mountain, and each punch could blow up a mountain. Lu Ming still activated the Chaos Divine Palm and met the attack. Boom, boom. In the sky, there were constant explosions. The force from the two's fight turned into a gale that swept in all directions, causing those who were close to it to retreat. After more than 10 consecutive explosions, Huang Meng's body was forced back. His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with intense shock. This was because Lu Ming's chaos laws did not form a river. This meant that Lu Ming was not in the Emperor-to-be realm but in the perfected Absolute Saint realm. In a battle at the same level, he was actually suppressed. This made him a little discouraged. "Thanks for letting me win," Lu Ming said. Just now, he had not used any other laws, only the laws of chaos. Although his chaos laws were only at 99% maturity, comparable to the other party's primordial chaos laws, he was still in a state of shock. However, Lu Ming's physical body was already stronger than the average child of God. Furthermore, Lu Ming's Array Dao laws had already formed a river. After tempering his physical body once, his physical body had become even stronger. Moreover, Lu Ming's saint energy was stronger than the average person's. Therefore, even if Lu Ming only used the law of chaos, no one would be his match in a battle of the same level. Naturally, he could crush Huang Meng. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong. He was only at the same level as Huang Meng, but he could crush Huang Meng. They were both children of God, so how could this be? Could the laws of chaos really be that powerful? However, there were also sons of chaos in the land of divine destiny. Although their combat strength was strong, they could not crush the sons of heaven of the same level. Many people looked at Lu Ming with grave expressions. "You're very strong. I'm not your match." Huang Meng shook his head and returned to the emperor gazing pillar. "I'll try." After Huang Meng retreated, another person stepped forward, and a powerful aura pressed toward Lu Ming. Imperial River, the child of Samsara. Many people revealed excited expressions. Yuha was about to make his move. Yuha had already entered the Emperor-to-be realm. The combat strength of a son of heaven at the Emperor-to-be realm was absolutely shocking. He was going to fight Lu Ming. Would Lu Ming be a match for him? A battle in the air. Lu Ming was very straightforward. With that, he soared into the sky. Chapter 2082. Chapter 2082, Cross, Level Battle. Chapter 2082. Chapter 2082 Cross-Level Battle. Imperial River took a step forward, and his body also shot into the sky. Lu Ming and Yu He stood opposite each other in the sky. Before they even made a move, their powerful auras were constantly colliding. Yuha was dressed in a black robe, and his entire body was suffused with the light of the laws of reincarnation. Behind him, there were 6 vortexes that were spinning non-stop. He wanted to let everything in the world enter reincarnation. Bang! Yui took a step forward and rushed toward Lu Ming. A long sword appeared in his hand. He slashed out and the long sword enlarged rapidly, turning into a huge sword. The most shocking thing was that there were 6 reincarnation vortexes on the giant sword that slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body was filled with the light of the chaotic laws. He was fearless as he rushed towards Yi's giant sword. At the same time, he used the chaotic divine palm and struck out. Lu Ming did not use any other laws. He simply used the laws of chaos. He wanted to see how strong he was without using any other laws. Clang! Lu Ming's palm struck Yuhi's huge sword. It was as if 2 divine weapons had collided and a terrifying vibration was produced. A powerful force shot out and Yuhi's sword was sent flying by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body also took a few steps back. This move was evenly matched. So powerful. How can the son of chaos be so powerful? Many people were shocked beyond words. Lu Ming was only in the perfection of an absolute saint, but he could actually fight against Yuhi. Yuha had already broken through to the Emperor-to-be realm. Once one reached the level of Emperor-to-be, the laws would be perfect and would form a river. Moreover, when he broke through to the Emperor-to-be realm, Both his body and saint power would be tempered by the laws and would be greatly improved. The great circle of the absolute saint realm seemed to be only one step away from an emperor-to-be, but the difference in strength was huge. And now, both of them were the sons of God. However, Lu Ming's ability to resist the imperial river despite his cultivation being behind. It was truly shocking. Kill! Yue let out a long howl. His eyes were like two vortexes as dark as ink. He strode forward and charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming was fearless. He waved his palm and the two of them engaged in an intense confrontation. The crowd could only see two figures clashing and fighting in the air. The scene was terrifying. Is this still the battle strength of an emperor-to-be? This is comparable to a martial supreme. The Son of God, once he breaks through to the emperor-to-be realm, his combat strength is really comparable to a martial emperor. One heard that Yue just broke through to the emperor-to-be realm not long ago, but he's still a genuine emperor-to-be. Lu Ming, who's only a perfected absolute saint, can actually fight with Yue. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Yue had exchanged dozens of moves. Many people could not calm down and were discussing excitedly. Of course, they did not know that Lu Ming had already perfected one of his laws. His body and saint energy had been tempered once. Although it was only the tempering of the King Path law, it had improved greatly. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for Lu Ming to fight against Yue with his cultivation base of a perfected ultimate saint with only one chaos law. But now, Lu Ming could definitely block the other party. Imperial River was equally shocked, but he was already really angry. He was originally very ambitious and wanted to stand out in the Battle of the Ten Lands. He wanted to be famous and obtain great opportunities. But now, before the Battle of the Ten Lands had even started, he had encountered an unprecedented setback. With his emperor-to-be cultivation, he couldn't even take down a person in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. He was the scion of Samsara, known to be invincible among his peers. But now, he couldn't take down someone whose cultivation was lower than his. This was a huge blow to his self-confidence. Therefore, he had to defeat Lu Ming. Yue let out a long roar and used his strength to the maximum. The sword whistled unceasingly. The 6 vortexes of the reincarnation vortex merged together and turned into a huge vortex. It wanted to pull Lu Ming into the vortex and reincarnate. However, Lu Ming was like a rock in the sea, unmoving. This time, Lu Ming used the chaos finger of tribulation. With a point of his finger, a huge chaos finger of tribulation was formed and pointed at the huge reincarnation vortex. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them collided, creating a terrifying explosion. In the end, the two of them disappeared. Lu Ming and Yue retreated 1,000 meters respectively and stood in the air. Imperial River's eyes were filled with disbelief. He could not take down Lu Ming and could only fight to a draw with him. The other sons of God on the pillar were also shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying. Once he broke into the emperor-to-be realm, who could defeat him? It seems that the world is full of geniuses. I have underestimated them in the past. Yue slowly spoke. At this moment, he had already regained his calm. You're also very strong. Lu Ming said. Let's fight again in the Ten Lands battle. After saying this, Yue stepped out and returned to the gazing emperor pillar. Lu Ming smiled and returned to the gazing emperor pillar. This Lu Ming is really getting more and more terrifying. Wei Tiandao muttered. The paragons of the Yuan Mountain felt it the most. They knew that Lu Ming still had a secret skill that he had not used. Back then, when he was fighting against the Star River, Lu Ming had used that secret skill to defeat the Star River. If he used that secret technique, even Yue wouldn't be his match. I heard that the people in the Stellar River have long broken through to the emperor-to-be realm. But now, it seems that even if the Stellar River has broken through to the emperor-to-be realm, they are not Lu Ming's match. Some of the heaven's favorites from Mount Yuan discussed in low voices. Brother Lu, I didn't even use my full strength. Chi Kai pursed his lips. He had seen Lu Ming's moves before. He could easily kill a 1-star illusionary emperor. That kind of combat strength was far beyond what he had just displayed. However, since Lu Ming did not reveal it, He would not tell anyone. By now, there were more and more people here. They're here. Suddenly, someone spoke and looked to the east. A figure was flying over at an astonishing speed. In the next moment, the light receded, and a young man appeared in the air. It's him, Death Blade. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. This young man was indeed the Death Blade. In the next moment, another streak of light flew over from the west, and a young man appeared. It's him. Lu Ming recognized this young man. He was the son of death of the eternal devil nation in the land of infinite devils, Jilong. It was obvious that they were the two people who were fighting. Come on stage and let's decide the winner. Jilong looked at the Death Blade. Just what I wanted. The Death Blade said indifferently. The two of them moved at the same time, stepping onto the ancient emperor stage. Boom, boom. The two of them stood opposite each other, and a terrifying aura of death emanated from their bodies at the same time. The auras of death clashed, as though they wanted to turn the ancient emperor stage into a kingdom of death. It was extremely rare for the children of God of the same law to fight, and everyone watched without blinking. Lu Ming looked at it more seriously. After all, he had also comprehended the death law. Suddenly, the two of them moved. They turned into two shadows and charged at each other, fighting fiercely. The entire ancient emperor stage had turned into a land of death, and it was covered by the laws of death. Many people revealed a look of fear. Now, if an ordinary person stepped into that area, they would probably be instantly deprived of their vitality by the law of death and die on the spot. Chapter 2083, Revival of the Celestial Emperor's Statue? Chapter 2083, Revival of the Celestial Emperor's Statue. Translator. 54 Yue, J33Y 2.5 years ago, both Rhe Death Blade and Ji Long had been in the perfected absolute saint realm. But now, both of them had reached the Emperor-to-be realm. With more than 2 years of accumulation, plus the fact that the two of them must have been cultivating in some secret place, their progress must have been very fast. Just like the Death Blade, Lu Xiangxiang, and the others, they had been sent to a secret place by the Emperor to cultivate and had only come out not long ago. Boom, boom. The two sons of death kept clashing, and the air of death filled the air, turning into a terrifying lulling force that swept in all directions. In a short period of time, the two of them had exchanged hundreds of moves, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Death's Abyss. Ji Long performed his ultimate move and condensed an abyss of death, covering the sky and the Death Blade. He wanted to pull the Death Blade into the abyss of death and bury him. The Death Blade moved extremely fast, trying to dodge, but the abyss of death was too big, covering the sky. The Death Blade was instantly drawn into the abyss of death. Was the Death Blade going to lose? Many people were moved. It's not that easy. They're all children of death, and their cultivation levels are similar. It's not that easy to determine the winner. Someone shook his head. As expected, the abyss of death trembled and a terrifying blade light broke out from the abyss of death. Heavenly blade of death, kill? A cold voice came from the abyss of death, and a huge blade light slashed out from the abyss of death. Boom! The abyss of death trembled and exploded. A figure with a terrifying blade light rushed out of the abyss of death. Slash! The Death Blade rushed out, and its blade light soared into the sky. Each blade carried a terrifying aura of death. As the blade light passed, even space seemed to fall into a dead silence. Ji Long shouted and continued to fight with the Death Blade. The usage of each nomological law is different. Different people can use the same nomological law differently even if they master it. Lu Ming looked at it seriously and pondered. Looking at the battle between the Death Blade and Ji Long, Lu Ming seemed to have come to a realization. His comprehension of the law of death had deepened. Death Blade and Ji Long had been fighting for hundreds of moves. At this time, both of them were exhausted. It was a competition of individual will and combat experience. I will definitely win. The Death Blade howled, his hair flying in the air. His eyes were filled with unyielding battle intent. It was as if he wanted to defeat anything that was placed in front of him. His blade of death became even sharper and more dazzling as it continuously slashed towards Jilong. Jilong was gradually at a disadvantage. The death blade is going to win. The death blade's willpower is even stronger. It's even stronger than Jilong's. We're both children of death, but the victor will be decided today. Many people were discussing. After another dozen or so moves, Jilong was no match for the blade of death. A deep wound appeared on his body, and it was constantly corroding him. Even though he had mastered the law of death, it was difficult to erase it in a short time. Jilong spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body trembled as if he couldn't believe that he had lost to the death blade. Before the Battle of the 10 Lands had even started, he had been defeated at the hands of another son of death. This was a huge blow to him. The others also sighed. After this battle, the death blade had revealed his abilities and defeated another son of God. He had strengthened his belief and his belief that he would not lose. After this battle, the death blade would definitely transform and reach a higher level. On the contrary, Jilong's will would probably be affected, and he would be even more vulnerable when facing the death blade in the future. This was also why when the same kind of children of God met, they would definitely fight. Because only by defeating the same kind of child of God and stepping on the other could one make themselves stronger and forge an undefeatable belief and step onto the peak. This time, in the Golden Age, there might be more than 2 children of death, but at least the death blade had already defeated one and could continue to compete for the throne. As for Jilong, he had already lost the qualification to become the strongest son of death. Unless he had a fortuitous encounter later on, it would be very difficult for him to turn the tables. You've lost. The death blade said indifferently. I will defeat you in the Battle of the 10 Lands. Jilong said. He couldn't admit defeat just like that. Otherwise, he would never be a match for the death blade. After today's defeat, you will be even less of a match for me in the future. The death blade spoke with an undefeatable belief. He then rose into Azure and left. After the death blade left, Jilong also left, and the battle ended. Let me tell you, the death blade also came from my Yuan mountain. The Heaven's Pride expert of Mount Yuan laughed. This surprised some people. Ming was also from Mount Yuan. He had just defeated a scion of Samsara, and it was a shocking fear for Rhe weak to defeat Rhe strong. And this rhyme, the death blade had defeated another child of death, and this child of death was also from Mount Yuan. The Yuan mountain was incredible. A few terrifying heaven's favorites had appeared one after another. Were there really 6 sons of God in Yuan mountain? Some of the geniuses had serious expressions. On the gazing the emperor pillar, the children of heaven glanced at Ming before they rose into the air and left. Ming. Brother Lu. 11 Some of the geniuses came over to greet Ming. They were all from the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy. Some of them were even enemies with Ming back then. Because at that time, there were 4 alliances in the Yuan Mountain's Sacred Academy, such as the Divine Fire Alliance and the Knights Alliance. Now, the leader of the Knights Association was smiling and greeting Ming. Brother Luo. Ming nodded. The leader of the Knights Association was called Luo Zhan. Brother Lu, you're getting stronger and stronger. I'm already far behind you now. Luo Zhan sighed. He had a king body and was now an emperor-to-be, but Ming could even defeat the Son of Heaven, an emperor-to-be. He was even worse. Brother Luo, you're too polite. Alright, you guys came here a few days earlier. Have you seen Long Chen, Huang Li, and the others? Ming asked. From what he knew, Long Chen, Desolate Power, and a few others had already arrived at the Divine Fate Land. Logically speaking, if they were nearby, they should have come to watch such a big show. However, Ming did not see a single one of them. Half a month ago, I did see Long Chen and Huang Li. The 2 of them were adventuring together. However, one haven't seen them recently. They must have left this region and headed towards Destiny City. Luo Zhan said. Ming nodded. The Battle of the 10 Lands was getting closer and closer. It was possible that they had already reached Destiny City. Brother Lu, are you guys going to Aeon City? It said that after entering Aeon City, The Celestial Emperor's statue will awaken and emit the aura of Rhe Heavenly Tao. It's extremely mysterious and can help one comprehend the Tao. Many people have headed to Aeon City. Luo Zhan said. The Celestial Emperor's statue has been revived? Lu Ming, the sword split open, and Qiu Yue were all shocked. The Celestial Emperor's statue was no small matter. Don't you know? We can go together. Luo Zhan said. All right, let's go and take a look. Lu Ming said. Those who could reach the Heavenly Emperor realm were all extremely powerful, as could be seen from the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor. Chapter 2084. Chapter 2084, Muyang. Chapter 2084. Chapter 2084 Muyang Aeon City could be said to be the largest city in the south of the divine Fate Land. It was called Aeon City and had existed for countless years. This ancient city was occupied by several large forces. In history, it had produced more than one heavenly emperor and was extremely powerful. Recently, in Aeon City, there was a famous statue of the Celestial Emperor that had actually revived. It revealed the aura of the heavenly path and could help people comprehend the path, attracting countless people. Furthermore, the Battle of the Ten Lands was just around the corner. Countless people from all over the land had rushed over, so there were naturally more people. Lu Ming and the few of them walked on the street, their eyes sweeping around, and they were amazed. Aeon City was no smaller than Heavenly Emperor City in Yuan Mountain. In fact, it was even more majestic. Soon, they arrived at their destination, the Celestial Emperor's statue. A huge statue, carved from jade, stood at the center of Aeon City. It was 1,000 meters tall. This was a middle-aged man with an ordinary appearance. Fai stood with his hands behind his back, but he had a kind of aura that could swallow the world and sweep away the world. This was the Celestial Emperor's statue. Originally, it was just a statue. But now, rays of divine light appeared on the statue, illuminating the entire area. A mysterious aura filled the air. On City, is there a heavenly emperor now? Lu Ming said. He was not calm either. Legend has it that there are almost no celestial emperors in the primordial realm. Richard said. No heavenly emperor? Lu Ming, Qiu Yue, and the rest were puzzled. Yes, I've also heard that most of the celestial emperors have gone to the heaven realm to participate in the war. Perhaps a few of them are still in the primordial realm, but it has been a long time since a celestial emperor has appeared. Richard said. Lu Ming nodded. Since the primordial realm's ancient times, there must have been some celestial emperors. Celestial emperors no longer faced any major tribulations and had endless lifespans. Their combat strength was unparalleled. If they did not encounter a great enemy, they would almost not die. But now, it was almost impossible to see the Celestial Emperor in the primordial realm, so it was very likely that he had really gone to the heaven realm to participate in the war. For example, it was impossible for the Yuan Mountain to have only given birth to the Hengyu Heavenly Emperor over the years. There must have been other heavenly emperors. How intense is the war in the heaven realm? Lu Ming's heart was in turmoil. The Celestial the Arch had gone to the heaven realm to participate in the war, so one could imagine how terrifying the war was. Many people were sitting cross-legged under the huge statue of the Celestial Emperor, and most of them were young people. According to the introduction of an elder at the side, although the resurrection of the Heavenly Emperor statue was wonderful, it was mainly useful for martial artists below the martial supreme realm or low-level void sovereigns. It would not be as useful for those with higher cultivation. Let's go over too, Lu Ming said. After that, Lu Ming, Qiu Yue, Bai Kai, Luo Zhan, and the others walked to the statue of the Celestial Emperor and sat cross-legged in an empty space. Along the way, they saw quite a few chosen. Most of the children of heaven who had appeared on the gazing emperor pillar were here. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and closed his eyes. His mind was empty. Suddenly, he felt a force enveloping him. The force seemed to make his mind pass through layers of space and become one with the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao contained everything. All the laws of the world were contained in the heavenly Tao. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he began to comprehend the death law. He felt that at this moment he had a very clear understanding of the death law. It was even clearer and faster than when he was under the path understanding ancient tree. This is a good place. Lu Ming smiled and started to comprehend quietly. His main focus was on the law of death and the law of devouring. Time passed day by day, and the two laws progressed at lightning speed. Every day, he would spend half of his time comprehending the death law and the other half comprehending the devour law. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Lu Ming had already reached 85% of the death rule and 92% of the devour rule. The comprehension of nomological laws became more and more difficult as one progressed. It was already amazing to have such a great harvest in a month. One day, Lu Ming was in the midst of comprehending when he suddenly felt his hair stand on end. He sensed a murderous intent enveloping him. Although he was cultivating, he had to pay some attention to the outside world. If someone was hostile to him, he would be immediately alerted. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and looked behind him. Behind him, a young man was walking over, looking at Lu Ming coldly. Bang! The young man stopped not far from Lu Ming. "You are Lu Ming?" The young man spoke indifferently, his voice filled with cold arrogance. Lu Ming frowned slightly. He did not know this person, but he could sense that this person had ill intentions. "Not bad," Lu Ming answered. At this moment, many people around the statue were not cultivating. They noticed Lu Ming and the young man. "It's Muyang of the Mu clan. He's an extremely terrifying heaven's favorite. It's said that he's the child of the void who controls the void's laws. He's reached the Emperor-to-be realm a long time ago. Who is that young man? Muyang seems to be hostile to him." "I know. That young man is from Mount Yuan. He's the son of chaos and is in the great circle of the ultimate saint realm. He defeated Yuha, the son of Samsara, who is in the Emperor-to-be realm." "What? He was the son of chaos?" "He defeated the son of Samsara, who was in the Emperor-to-be realm, with his cultivation at the peak of the ultimate saint realm?" Many people were shocked after hearing the truth. The son of chaos was already shocking enough. Moreover, he was in the great circle of the ultimate saint realm and defeated the son of Samsara, who was at the Emperor-to-be level. This was even more shocking. "My name is Muyang, and Yuanxin is my good friend." At this moment, the young man spoke. "Yuanxin?" Lu Ming was puzzled. He had never heard of this name before. What did Muyang looking for him have to do with this Yuan Exin? "My good friend Yuan Exin is also a son of chaos." "You've met him before," Muyang said indifferently. "Son of chaos? Could it be him?" Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He thought of the son of chaos he had met during the Hunyuan Sect's assessment. "Yuan Exin once mentioned you. He said that you've mastered the chaos scripture of the chaos arch. He's now in seclusion to break through to a higher realm. As his good friend, I naturally have to share his burden. Hand over your chaos scripture," Muyang said indifferently. Although his voice wasn't heavy, it had a commanding tone. "It really is that person." Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The only person who knew that Lu Ming had the chaos scripture was the son of chaos, who had also been to the Chaos Hall. The son of chaos was extremely rare. It was even more difficult to produce than the other sons of God. For the time being, Lu Ming had not heard of any other son of chaos who could control the laws of chaos. "Let's see if you have the ability to get the chaos scripture," Lu Ming said, his voice cold. "Oh, so you're going to fight me? Don't think that you're invincible just because you defeated Yuha. There are many people stronger than Yuha in the Divine Land," Muyang said coldly. "Try it and you'll know." Lu Ming smiled faintly. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from Muyang's body. Waves of energy rushed towards Lu Ming like shock waves. Lu Ming also released his aura to resist. Chapter 2085. Chapter 2084 Battle. Chapter 2085. Chapter 2084 Battle. Lu Ming and Muyang stood in a confrontation. The cold aura spread in all directions, startling many people who were cultivating. "What's going on? It's Muyang and Lu Ming." Many people were shocked and angry at first, But when they saw that it was Muyang and Ming, they kept quiet. They could tell that there was a conflict between the two peerless geniuses and they were probably going to fight. Boom. Muyang made his move. His palm was covered with a layer of light. It was so terrifying that it seemed like the space around him had turned into nothingness. It made the area around his palm look like a black hole. Boom. Ming went up to him and cast the Chaos Divine Palm. His palm turned gray like a chaos stone. The two palms collided heavily, and the sound was like a loud bell. The terrifying force formed circles of shock waves that swept in all directions. Many of them emitted light to resist the shockwave. Boom. Boom. Ming and Muyang's bodies trembled and they exchanged a few more moves. However, there was no clear winner. What powerful strength! Ming felt that Muyang's power was like a storm, pressing down on him. Coupled with the void law, it almost broke through his chaos law and turned him into nothingness. This Muyang was definitely stronger than Otakumihi. You do have some strength. No wonder you're so arrogant. But this bit of strength is not enough. In Muyang's eyes, a strange light bloomed. It was the light of nothingness. The aura on his body grew stronger and stronger. However, at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura exploded in the sky. The terrifying pressure was like an ancient divine mountain, pressing down on Ming and Muyang, causing their bodies to freeze. A white-haired old man had appeared in the sky. The old man looked down at Ming and Muyang and said coldly, "Don't be impudent in front of the Celestial Emperor's statue. Don't fight. Anyone who violates this will be killed. Since this is your first offense, I'll spare you this time. If you want to fight, fight somewhere else." Ming and Muyang retracted their auras, but their cold gazes were still fixed on each other. "Do you dare to fight me on the battle platform?" Muyang said coldly. He was very confident in himself. Although the combat strength that Ming had displayed earlier was very shocking, he was confident that he could defeat Ming because he had not used his full strength. "Why wouldn't I?" Ming replied indifferently. "Senior, let us leave." Muyang said to the old man in the sky. The old man retracted his aura and the pressure on Ming and the rest disappeared. "If you have the guts, come." Muyang left these words before stepping into the air and leaving. Ming smiled and followed him. Qiu Yue by Kai and the rest quickly followed. The Son of Chaos is going to fight against Muyang. Let's go and see. One heard that Muyang has already reached the Emperor-to-be realm and is about to break through to the Martial Emperor realm. He's extremely powerful. Ming hasn't even reached the Emperor-to-be realm, but he's brave enough to accept the challenge? The sons of God are all proud and arrogant. How can they not fight when others challenge them? However, I think Ming will most likely lose this time. After all, he only has a cultivation base of a perfected absolute saint. One thinks so too. No matter how strong a perfected absolute saint is, there's still a limit. Ming could hear the voices around him. He speculated that Muyang had already started to develop a small world. A person like him could already attempt to become a martial supreme. Not long after, they came to a vast area. There was a huge battle platform here. At this moment, there were two people still fighting on the fighting ring. They were two young men, both with king physique and strong battle strength. However, Muyang was extremely domineering. He flew up into the air and stomped down, "Get off the stage!" he shouted. The terrifying void light made the two young men's expressions change drastically. They kept stepping back and landed on the edge of the fighting stage, looking at Muyang with an ugly expression. They were in the middle of a battle, and Muyang had come to tell them to get out. This was an insult to them. "What's wrong? Still not scramming? Do you want to fight me?" Muyang looked at the two king physiques, his voice filled with dissatisfaction. The two king physiques didn't dare to fight with Muyang. In the end, they could only swallow their anger and jump off the fighting stage. Around them, many people were dissatisfied. Muyang was too overbearing. However, no one stood out to criticize him. Not only was Muyang powerful, but the force behind him was also extremely terrifying. No one would be willing to offend him. Ming, get down here and fight." Muyang's voice spread in all directions. You don't have to shout so loudly, I won't run. Let's go, Lu Ming said indifferently. He stepped into the air and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, I advise you to hand over the chaos scripture obediently. I can let you off this time and let you participate in the Battle of the 10 Lands. Otherwise, you won't even be able to participate in the Battle of the 10 Lands. Muyang said coldly. Of course, he was only sending a voice transmission to Lu Ming. I said if you want it, let's see if you have the ability. Lu Ming sneered. You're so stubborn. Then I'll let you see what it means to be stronger than you. Muyang's eyes were cold, and his body was filled with killing intent. Boom. He took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming. His entire body was shrouded in the light of nothingness as he charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming activated the chaos laws and went up to them. This time, it was not under the statue of the Celestial Emperor, but on the battle stage. There was no need to restrain themselves, and the two of them fought with all their might. Boom, boom. The two of them collided continuously, causing the fighting ring to rumble and explode. The two of them fought with speed, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 moves. The fighting ring was surrounded by people. Many of them were terrifying geniuses, and many of them were children of the heavens. Lu Ming is no match for Muyang. Imperial River said. Previously, he had a huge battle with Lu Ming and he was clear of Lu Ming's abilities. Amitabha. That might not be the case. I think that benefactor Lu Ming can win. Wuxian monk of Boundless Temple chanted the name of Buddha and smiled. These words moved everyone. Monk Wuxian had mastered the law of karma. Everything in the world had a cause and effect. Perhaps he could see something through the cause and effect. You're saying that Lu Ming hid his strength when he fought me? Yi's eyes lit up in disbelief. I can't say. Well, no, when we continue watching. Elder Monk Wuxian said with a mysterious smile. At this time, Lu Ming had already exchanged dozens of moves with Muyang. At this point, Lu Ming was actually at a disadvantage. As expected, it has already started to evolve into a small world. Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. Muyang had already started to break through to the martial emperor realm. He had started to use the laws as a foundation to develop a small world. There was a trace of the power of a small world in his saint energy, which was extremely powerful. Now, Lu Ming had only cast one type of chaos law and was already at a disadvantage. Lu Ming, I've said it before. You're not my match. Muyang launched a storm of attacks. At the same time, his cold and arrogant voice entered Lu Ming's ears. It's too early for you to be happy. Lu Ming replied indifferently. Since one law didn't work, then he would use two. Chapter 2086, Lu Ming is furious? Chapter 2086, Lu Ming is furious. If one law didn't work, then he would use two. Lu Ming's muscles bulged and his holy power surged. Silently, he merged the Array Dao laws into the Chaos laws. Boom. The power of Lu Ming's palms suddenly increased dramatically. With a single palm, it directly broke through Muyang's void law. Muyang's face changed dramatically. His body trembled and he couldn't help but retreat. Your strength? How is that possible? Muyang asked in shock. How did Lu Ming's strength increase so much all of a sudden? He was much stronger than before. He could not tell that Lu Ming had fused two types of laws. In the land of infinite demons, Lu Ming had stayed in the canyon in the demonic sea for more than 2 years. He challenged the levels and fought every day. He was already extremely familiar with the use of the laws. And NBSP, when he used several laws, he could use chaos laws to cover up the other laws. Of course, if he used two ultimate maxims at the same time, he could not hide it because the ultimate maxims were too powerful. However, when he used the strongest law and the King Path law, he could cover it up very well, and others could not see it. Therefore, Muyang could not figure out how Lu Ming's strength had increased so much. The others around the fighting ring were also shocked. Lu Ming had suddenly exploded and forced Muyang to retreat. Lu Ming really hid his abilities when he fought with me previously. He sighed, his eyes filled with dejection. He had wanted to defeat Lu Ming in the Battle of the 10 Lands. Now, it seemed that it would be very difficult. Amitabha. Monk Wuchen chanted the name of Buddha. The other children of God looked at Lu Ming with a grave expression. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong and it was beyond common sense. Kill! On the fighting ring, Lu Ming let out a long roar and charged towards Muyang. Every move of his contained the fusion of chaos laws and array Dao laws. Its power was extremely shocking. Furthermore, the array Dao laws were already perfect, so the power was even greater. The fusion of nomological laws didn't just increase the power of the fusion by 1 + 1 = 2, but by several times. The more nomological laws were fused, the stronger the power. Boom, boom. Lu Ming and Muyang clashed again, but this time, Muyang was completely suppressed and was at a disadvantage. He was no match for Lu Ming. Every time they clashed, his body trembled violently, as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. His powerful saint energy was useless. Impossible? How is that possible? Muyang simply couldn't accept it. He had already started to develop a small world. Once the time was right, he would be able to break through to the martial supreme realm. He was already infinitely close to the martial emperor realm and was also the son of God. He was much stronger than those who had just stepped into the emperor-to-be realm. On the other hand, Lu Ming was only in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. He had yet to form a river with the laws of chaos. How could he be so powerful? He could not believe it. He roared angrily and tried his best, but he was still suppressed by Lu Ming. The ocean of nothingness. In the end, Muyang used his strongest move. This was a terrifying sacred art with boundless might. It exploded the might of the void law to the extreme, forming an ocean of the void law that enveloped everything and wanted to turn everything into nothingness. In fact, many people would master more than one divine power after they became emperor-to-be. After becoming an emperor-to-be, one's nomological laws would reach perfection. When cultivating other divine powers, one could easily grasp them and raise their mastery to the extreme. It was just like how Lu Ming cultivated the chaos divine palm. Of course, the prerequisite was that he had to have the corresponding sacred art. The Void Sea was one of Muyang's most powerful magical techniques. Voila! There seemed to be the sound of waves crashing. Lu Ming was enveloped in the sea of nothingness. Turn into nothingness! Muyang roared, filled with endless killing intent. At that moment, he no longer wanted to take the chaos scripture from Lu Ming. Instead, he wanted to kill Lu Ming. The Battle of the Ten Lands had not started and he could not lose. If he lost, he would be even more defeated in the Battle of the Ten Lands. What a terrifying divine power. Lu Ming is in danger. Someone exclaimed. The void could not be controlled, and it turned into a vast ocean that enveloped an area. It was too terrifying. Many people could not help but worry for Lu Ming. Muyang can be said to be the strongest seed in this Battle of the Ten Lands. He is very likely to enter the top 10. When he explodes, his combat power is really amazing. That's right. In the past, Muyang was almost invincible in the Divine Land. There were only a few people in the younger generation who could defeat him. Some people spoke. However, Qiu Yue's eyes were calm and she didn't look worried at all. Qiu Yue knew very well how powerful Lu Ming was when he went all out. As for Split, he had seen Lu Ming in action before. He knew that Lu Ming had not used his full strength yet. Boom, boom, boom. Muyang stood above the void sea, his eyes cold. He kept activating the void law to make sure that Lu Ming was turned into nothingness. But the next moment, Muyang's expression changed. The void sea began to shake as if a giant beast was stirring the wind and clouds. Boom. In the end, a huge finger, like the finger of a god, rushed out of the sea of nothingness. Boom, boom. Then, from every corner of the void ocean, the chaotic fingers of tribulation shot out continuously. The void ocean turned into a honeycomb, and then with a violent boom, it completely exploded. Impossible! Muyang roared in disbelief. His body trembled and he was forced to retreat, blood flowing out of his mouth. Nothing is impossible. The sea of nothingness disappeared and Lu Ming's figure reappeared. He was unharmed. He shouted and charged at Muyang. Boom. Lu Ming's huge hand pressed down and Muyang was already injured. He was no match for Lu Ming and was sent flying dozens of meters away. He spat out another mouthful of blood. Lu Ming followed closely behind, not giving Muyang any chance to catch his breath. He launched a storm of attacks at Muyang. Muyang was already injured and was no match for Lu Ming. After exchanging a few moves with Lu Ming, he felt that his arm was about to be broken and he spat out blood continuously. Bang! In the end, he could not block it and was struck in the chest by Lu Ming's palm. His chest caved in and almost exploded into a big hole. If not for his powerful nomological law light and shocking defense, his body would have exploded from this move. But even so, he was still lying on the ground, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. He had suffered heavy injuries. You want to take the chaos scripture from me with your strength? Let Yuan Exen do it herself. Lu Ming looked down at Muyang and spoke coldly, his voice filled with disdain. Muyang was so furious that he wanted to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Lu Ming, I'm telling you, I've been investigating you for a long time. You have many friends in Mount Yuan. Right now, a few of them are guests in my Mu family. You'd better hand over the chaos scripture and come with me to the Mu family. Otherwise, all your friends will die. Muyang suddenly spoke in a cold voice. Of course, it was a voice transmission. What? Lu Ming was greatly shocked. Could it be that someone had fallen into the hands of the Mu family? It was possible. After he had arrived at the divine fate land, he had not seen Long Chen, Huang Li, and the others. Chapter 2087. Whores Threatening Hu. Chapter 2087. Whores Threatening Hu. Seeing Lu Ming's shock, Muyang sneered. Ever since he found out that there was a son of chaos in Yuan Mountain who was Yuan Xin's sworn enemy, he had been paying attention to Yuan Mountain. When the prodigies of Yuan Mountain arrived at the divine destiny land, he began to investigate. He wanted to know Lu Ming's whereabouts so that he could deal with him. However, Lu Ming did not arrive. Instead, he found out that Lu Ming had a few friends and he immediately sent people to arrest them. It was just a precaution, but he didn't expect it to be useful. There are 2 people who can control RHE laws of extremity. One is called Long Chen and the other is called Desolate Power. They are both in the Mu family. Lu Ming, come with me to the Mu family and hand over the chaos scripture. 11 Muyang laughed and sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. The killing intent in his heart was extremely cold. Today, Lu Ming had defeated him in public. To him, it was a great humiliation. As long as Lu Ming set foot in the Mu family, he would make Lu Ming regret it. You should die, Lu Ming said coldly. His eyes were icy cold as he stared at Muyang. At this moment, his killing intent was extremely dense. It seemed that Long Chen and the Desolate Power had indeed fallen into Muyang's hands. You still dare to threaten me at this point? Muyang's face darkened. I said you're stupid, and you're really stupid. You shouldn't have said it here and now. Lu Ming said coldly. What do you want? Muyang's face changed dramatically. At the same time, he tried to retreat but it was too late. Lu Ming's body was like a bolt of lightning, rushing towards Muyang. Boom. This time, Lu Ming had integrated the law of devouring into it, and his combat strength was even stronger. With one move, Muyang's arms exploded, turning into flesh and blood that splattered everywhere. The terrifying power directly pierced through Muyang's protective light of law and his body, revealing a bright hole in the front and back. Muyang fell to the ground and screamed. Gotcha! The next moment, Lu Ming rushed over and stepped on Muyang's legs, breaking them. Muyang screamed hysterically. Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you! Muyang roared. Bang! The next moment, Lu Ming stepped on Muyang's face, almost crushing his head. He spat out a mouthful of blood and almost lost all his teeth. Tell your people to bring my friend here in exchange for you. If my friend loses even a single hair, I'll kill you. Lu Ming said coldly. You dare? Muyang roared. Bang! Lu Ming stomped on his face again, causing Muyang to scream in pain. At this moment, Muyang was filled with regret. He was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He should not have said that he had captured Long Chen and Desolate Power in the fighting ring. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so decisive. The main thing was that the force behind him was too powerful. Therefore, he subconsciously thought that Lu Ming would not dare to do anything to him. Moreover, Lu Ming's friend was in his hands. He thought that he had everything under control, but he did not expect that Lu Ming could take him down directly. The main thing was that Lu Ming was too decisive. He had thought of a way to save people in an instant. Ordinary people would definitely not think of it and would not be so decisive. Many people around the fighting ring looked at each other. Because some of Muyang's words had been transmitted to them, they did not know the whole story and were very confused. He did not understand why Lu Ming suddenly went crazy and tortured Muyang so badly. How dare you? Release young Master Muyang. Kid, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're the son of chaos. If you offend the Mu family, you'll die without a burial place. A few of the Mu clan's powerhouses roared as a terrifying aura erupted from their bodies. They were all martial emperors. If you guys continue to talk nonsense, I'll cut him down. Lu Ming's eyes swept coldly across the martial supremes as he spoke. His voice was filled with cold killing intent. The Mu clan martial sovereigns all shut up. Muyang was the #1 genius of the Mu family. He had unparalleled talent. Nothing could happen to him. Hurry up and bring my friend over. Lu Ming lowered his head and looked down at Muyang. At this moment, Muyang was being stepped on by Lu Ming. He was humiliated. If there was a crack in the fighting ring, he would have found one and crawled in. He was Arhi, son of the void, a proud son of heaven who was about to break through to the martial supreme realm. He was known as one of the strongest seeds in this 10 lands battle. However, at this moment, he was being stepped on mercilessly by Lu Ming. He really could not bear it. However, the cold killing intent on Lu Ming's body told him that Lu Ming would really kill him. Go and bring the people. Finally, Muyang shouted and asked the Mu family's experts to bring the people back. A few of the Mu clan experts had ugly expressions, but they still left in the end and flew toward the Mu clan. The Mu family's headquarters was in Aeon City. It seems that Muyang has captured Lu Ming's friend. From the conversation between Lu Ming and Muyang, many people could tell what was going on. No wonder Lu Ming was suddenly furious. At the same time, everyone was even more shocked. Lu Ming's ability was too powerful. It had reached a shocking level. Is his cultivation really still in the great circle of the absolute saint stage? He didn't break through to the emperor to be realm? Some people said in disbelief. The laws haven't formed a river yet. He's indeed in the great circle of the absolute saint realm. An expert spoke up and confirmed Lu Ming's cultivation. This made people gasp. Lu Ming's physical body is extremely strong, far stronger than the average child of God. I'm guessing that he must have had a heaven-defying encounter that caused his physical body to be so strong that it's shocking. His combat strength has also been greatly improved. An elder spoke. They could tell what was going on. Although his physical body is strong, his nomological laws are even more terrifying. He's strong in all aspects and has almost no weaknesses. Another elder spoke. What the monster! Many people sighed. It is fortunate that his cultivation is low. If his cultivation was high, who would be his match in this battle of the 10 lands? It's hard to say. Don't forget that the child of destiny has been born in this generation. These words shocked many people. Yes, destiny's child. This was undoubtedly an extremely terrifying figure, a truly invincible figure. Also, the ancient cultivation system has appeared. Someone has cultivated it to a terrifying level. Also, Yuan Exin, the son of chaos, is said to be in seclusion to break through to the martial emperor realm. Following that, someone else spoke up, causing everyone's heart to tremble once again. Some of the sons of God had extremely serious expressions. The battle of the 10 lands this time would probably be extremely intense and would become a shocking event. Lu Ming did not wait for long. In less than half an hour, a group of people flew over. They were the experts of the Mu family. They were flying over with 2 young men. Longchen, Desolate Power. Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. The two young men were Long Chen and Desolate. Lu Ming. Long Chen and Desolate Li were shocked when they saw Lu Ming. They knew what had happened when they saw Lu Ming stepping on Muyang. Lu Ming, what you're doing is too dangerous. Long Chen sighed, his eyes solemn. We're friends. Long Chen and Desolate Power shut up after hearing Lu Ming's words. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.